mystics and ghosts, covens of witches with all of their hosts. You may think they scare me, you're probably right. Black cats and goblins on Halloween night. Trick or treat!
Trick or treat! Okay, we've got the lights low. Jack-o'-lantern is in the corner. I am sitting in...
it
do
is.
you want me to sit in the shadows?
We did put that in there.
Do you want me in the shadows?
I don't really know if I want you to be the shadow
Okay.
man.
All right. I won't go in the shadows.
You don't have to be the shadow.
Okay. So I think
you could, but do you want to? I mean, I think that'd be really creepy.
I got enough creepiness around the old orifice here, around the studio. What?
You called it an orifice. It was just weird.
We did The Office and everything.
Well, that's fine.
Okay, so we are prepared for this one. We're recording this later than usual in the evening.
Yeah, but it is going to be... It's a late one. It's a late one.
It's a late one. Folks, I guess I should start the show.
Don't ever look
I have to look at you!
Okay. You looked behind me. I saw you do that. It scared me.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let me start. All right.
You know what, Kevin? You did this. And then you looked back at me. Don't do that.
You got the window there. You can jump out. We are on a second floor, so we're already in a dangerous position here. I am Kevin.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is Shelf Life, a podcast hosted by a brother and sister team where we go through all things pop culture of all different genres, from movies to TV to books to comics to games to wrestling to sports entertainment to anything that we can get our hands on, and we determine whether or not that subject belongs on your shelf, be it digital or physical. I have to do the whole thing because it is the last episode in Volume 2, which means that it is time for the main event! Rachel, what is the subject that is up for consideration of the shelf today?
I don't know if I should turn down your mic because you went over.
Did I pop it?
Negative.
I didn't think I was being that loud. We're gonna have to make an adjustment because Rachel forgot how loud I am when I'm doing radio, Kevin. Hey, this is Homer Simpson saying hello out there to all of you in Radio Land.
Alright, anyways. For our main event, we are doing the 1978 John Carpenter's Halloween.
The night he came home. Yes, this is, for those that listened to the preview episode where we run down the whole card, you would have known this. But for those of you that may not have, or may be discovering us, or for those of you that are going back to listen to spooky episodes.
Welcome. Enjoy.
Because we are assuming that we're not dropping, when this episode drops, it will not be spooky time. But I expect everybody to go back and find it on spooky time. And yes, Rachel, we are doing 1978's John Carpenter's Halloween, a classic staple of horror movies from the 70s that became the source of truth for us for slasher movies.
Yeah, pretty much.
From that point on. It is the epitome of slasher movies, and we have to cover it here because, of course, we have to cover it. This is a classic film. It is considered to be one of the greats, maybe one of the great horror movies of all time, one of the great slasher movies of all time. But the question is whether or not it has shelf life. We're gonna figure that out, of course, as we go through today. I mean, it is possible too. It's possible somebody could spook us on this episode. We don't know.
What do you mean?
So Rachel, you're not.
I
understand that. We've tried to set the mood
movie,
here to make it a little creepy, a little scary. I mean, we've got the mood set. We're ready to go. We're ready to think about this. Rachel, as per usual, I'm going to ask you what your history is with the movie, its main event. Oh, one thing I should say, because what we've said about main events, there can be multiple main events in a season.
That's
only one thing can, or volume, only one thing can end the volume, so that makes it the main event kind of by default. But there's going to be volumes where there's going to be multiple main events. Some people might say that this volume had multiple main events. I don't know. But a main event qualification is one or two things. It's important to us, or we really want to talk about it in great detail, and the main events episodes are even longer usually than our usual episodes. Or two, it is something that is culturally significant or important or big. This happens to be both.
It definitely is both.
So, Rachel, what is your history with the 1978 Halloween, or the franchise as a total? Because now it's a franchise. So, what is your history?
Okay, I mean, if you want me to talk about the franchise, well, let me talk about this movie in particular. So, I was little. I don't remember when I first saw it. I just know I was small. I remember being like a little kid when I first saw Halloween, and I blame you for making me watch this movie.
Of course, as you'd have to.
And I remember it scaring me, like scaring the crap out of me. I remember it scaring the crap out of me, and it always has been like that creepy movie. And like Michael Myers used to like, I used to have nightmares about him. That's not even a joke. It's just true. I know. It's just true. Now the rest of the franchise. I mean, I think I've seen everything.
By
think
now,
I've
I
seen
think
everything.
So, probably, yeah.
I've seen all of the movies, and they're interesting. It's interesting how much lore and how much has like changes in like the story. Yeah. So we'll get to those eventually, but we're gonna start talking about the classic and the first one.
I would say in agreement there. I don't know when I first saw it. I know I didn't see this one first. I did not see the first one first.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't see the second one first. I didn't see the third one first. I'm pretty sure it's the fourth one that I saw first. When he's
the third
after.
One doesn't even have him in it.
I know, but I'm saying of the.
No, I understand.
I'm pretty sure because these will run on cable ad nauseum.
Oh yeah,
but
especially around Halloween.
Of course, and I don't think that they used to run the '78 version a lot around Halloween as much as they would run Halloween 4 and 5 and maybe like H2O or some of those.
Right.
So I'm fairly certain that I saw him going after Jamie Lloyd more than I saw him going after Laurie Strode. So
that's probably true. I do remember the ones with like the little girl.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
But that also, I think, added to me being a little girl watching the movies.
Sure. But,
and then him chasing her around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this is well-tread ground. I'm pretty sure every single thing that could cover Halloween has or will cover Halloween.
Absolutely.
There's multiple documentaries about this movie. There are commentaries and podcasts and all sorts of shit that you can find everywhere and anywhere. Now, they're not going to be as good as we will be, because it's, I mean, how can you be, right, Rachel?
Of course, yeah.
The Lapsed Fan has like a 5.5-hour podcast about Halloween. So
Lapsed Fan.
We've got a,
It's interesting.
That's a challenge to us. It's a direct challenge.
I don't know who we are. Or do they? If you're watching, or I guess if you're listening.
Yeah, True Jack and JP, you mean?
Hi.
If they're listening to our podcast?
Yeah.
We did a Rumble episode earlier this volume.
They might love it.
I don't remember the first time I saw this. I have seen, I think, most of this franchise. I've seen the latest David Gordon Green versions. I've seen Rob Zombie movies. But I don't know if I've seen the Halloween 2s in their entirety.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
The original Halloween 2 and the Rob Zombie Halloween 2. I don't know if I've sat down and watched them in their entirety.
True. I mean, I have them on every year. I assume you also have them on every year because they're just on TV, so they're just like
if they're on some of those like streaming services that you can just flip through the channels, like your Tubies and your Plutos, maybe even your Peacocks.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the like horror channels, if they just have them like running, like a lot of time I'll just put those on in the background.
Oh yeah, sure.
But I don't know if I've like sat down and watched it. I mean, last
night
it's
been a while.
You and I sat down and watched this,
right?
Like, and truly sat down and watched it,
yeah.
And it actually did give me more of a visceral effect. Because for me, horror movies in general, slashers don't do it for me, for the most part. Your Jasons, your Freddys, your... I can't think of another
talking
slasher.
About like Saw.
Yeah.
Gore.
Anything where somebody might go, oh, that's
Hostel.
possible. For me, horror movies that are extra paranormal.
You want paranormal, or do you want like psychological?
A little of both.
I like psychological, and I do like paranormal stuff. There's something about it that just like there's a creep factor to it that adds.
Well, I'm not
a
saying
lot.
I like the slasher stuff just fine. I'm saying scares me.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know why, because it's way more possible that somebody could be, you know, a weirdo out to get you versus you're possessed by, you know, like those are scarier to me. I don't know why. I guess because it's so over the top or something.
Well, it's something you don't expect. So you're trying to figure it out as it's happening, but it's something that you can't really figure out because it's
do anything
paranormal.
about it because it's paranormal.
You have no control.
Yeah, maybe.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the times, see, like, I've watched a lot of scary movies now. Like, I used to not be into scary movies, then I
Rachel
started
has
going...
dug to the bottom of that Netflix
Oh, that barrel is... Oof, man.
So there's a lot of bad
There's a lot
shit.
of stuff going on down there. And but now it's like I watch a lot of them just to see if I can find anything good or find any like diamonds and stuff. And sometimes
My diamonds. That's a callback.
That's
called a callback.
And sometimes you find interesting ones. Sometimes you find just absolute ass. Most of the time, it's oh yeah, that was good. I'm not scared while I'm watching it, but then later on, my imagination always takes over and goes, I'm going to put twists on that thing you just watched and scare you while you sleep.
Well, yeah, I mean anything can do that. I mean, House of Wax can do that,
right?
Whatever. But,
so that's usually what happens with me with scary movies.
Well, I mean, what are your so overall you've seen this movie multiple times?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And like we even went to see the newest Halloween 2016?
2018.
2018. We went to see the 2018 Halloween in theaters. I think it was like one of my first that was the first time I went to see a Halloween movie in the theaters.
I think I went to see the 2007 with friends in theaters, the Rob Zombie version.
Right.
And I know that then my friend who is a huge Halloween nut, he probably will end up being our horror movie expert if we can get him on here. Quit looking down the hallway.
What? I mean, it's dark. What's a dark hallway? It's like there's shadows.
He brought that one over, I remember. Just one night, like,
yeah,
he rented
with
it,
the three of us.
And the three of us watched it.
Yeah, that's true. That was something.
Kills and Ends, I did not go to see in the theaters because I went to the theater to buy the popcorn to support the local theater.
As you do.
But I didn't go because Kills came out still during the pandemic, like not the height necessarily, but like during that time. So I wasn't like, I don't want to sit here. And it's weird to go to a Halloween movie by yourself, I feel like.
That would be weirder, maybe. A little creepier. For you. Because now you have to go back to your car after
Oh,
the
yeah,
fact.
Yeah, that's true. Because where I was going with this, with the slasher stuff, is even Michael in the sequels doesn't really get to me, but when we watched it last night, I was like, this is actually pretty effective in terms of creepiness. Really. You did jump.
I did jump.
Yeah, you marked out.
It got me for a second.
Which I thought was hilarious. Because you knew what was going to happen.
I
You've
knew
seen
it was
this
going to happen, but I didn't know when it was going to happen. I couldn't remember. It got me.
One thing, too, that I do like about this movie, so I guess we should get into a little bit of like the backstory and everything. One of the things that I think is hilarious, not hilarious, but just interesting to me, is that if you were to sum up this movie, you can do it in a sentence. I could try it unless you want to give it a shot.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
No, I'm curious to see what you say.
A mental patient escapes from the asylum and he stalks teenagers on Halloween.
Stalks and murders.
Sure, but I mean, yeah.
Serial killer.
But he's just.
I would like to add serial killer, mental patient.
He wasn't a serial killer until he escaped.
All right, fine. Killer.
Yeah.
Just say killer. He's a murderer. He's a murderer.
But my point is, like, it's such a simple premise.
Oh yeah, the premise is simple.
It's an escaped mental patient is killing people.
That's very true.
It's the way that they form the character of the Shape that makes it above the other stuff that is that level of just like a crazy person. It's because of how Michael Myers, the Shape, conducts himself that makes it makes it interesting, makes it different than the other slashers. Because there were slashers before this, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the difference is that this set the bar to be like, oh, this is what we have to try to top, or this is what we have to try to beat in order to compete with what Halloween did. If you're younger, I think that you'd watch this movie and you could say, I've seen all this stuff already.
It's like, oh, it does that in this movie, and oh, it does that in this movie.
But that's because it all happened.
It's because those movies took it from this movie.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the way that your life kind of forms when it comes to a lot of this pop culture stuff is what you see first and how your brain adjusts to it and things like that. But this really was kind of the catalyst for it. And it all starts with Irwin Yablans, a executive type guy. He kind of he was forming his own film production company. He was a guy that started as a truck loader at Warner Brothers. He would load film into trucks because you would need to that's how you had to literally like get film to the sets and stuff, was just loading it on these trucks. He became a booker who would book films into the theaters because that's how you had to do it. I don't know if you still do it that way or not. Folks at home, let me know. Theaters weren't doing well in the 60s because of television, and he set up sneak previews. That became like his job, where he would set up sneak previews, and then they would make decisions based on the audience reactions. And
interesting.
So he would get to learn about audience reactions and what they liked and what they didn't like. And at some point, according to, like I said, there's like documentaries galore. So everything that we're telling you about the backstory, we'll try to keep it a little bit short because you can find this ad nauseum all over the internet because it's just so, it's an interesting story of how this became, especially when it became this huge franchise now under Universal and Jason Blum and stuff. His wife told him, well, if you know what the audience wants and you think that you could do it, why don't you just do it? So that's why Yablans formed his own production company, and he wanted to make movies and distribute movies. Yablans got a call from an agent, turned out to be John Carpenter's agent, and he said, hey, we're trying to find somebody that will distribute this film, Assault on Precinct 13. At the time it was called The Siege, or Siege, I can't remember. And Yablans watched it, said, oh, this is great. I'm going to take a chance on it. That's how Irwin Yablans and John Carpenter meet up, is by Yablans distributing Assault on Precinct 13. He changed the name and stuff, and then he put it out there. Rachel, I'm going to say this up front about John Carpenter. He might be one of my favorite directors of all time. And it's funny because you said, well, what else has he done that I know?
Yes.
And I started
this is what you were talking about last night.
I started listing off the movies, and you were like, oh.
Okay, I guess you might be one of my favorites then, too.
So I got, yeah, we're good. This is just the first of many John Carpenter movies we're probably going to cover at Shelf Life.
Yeah.
A lot of them were on the list, for whether or not Rachel knew that they were John Carpenter's movies or not. This
is what usually happens. Kevin always knows all the background information. I could tell you word for word what somebody says in a movie.
So, on Assault on Precinct 13, John Carpenter meets Deborah Hill. Deborah Hill was his assistant editor, script supervisor. He makes her a producer for him, so like they start to collaborate. They dated as well. I think they were dating at the time when Halloween was going on. And then Michael Myers called Irwin Yablans, and he told Michael Myers was the real Michael Myers. Called Irwin.
Yeah, not Michael Mask Michael.
Yeah. Nor the yeah baby.
No, neither that one either.
Neither that one.
I mean, it is European. He is what, English? He is English.
He's British. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I think that's but Michael Myers is Canadian.
Oh, okay. So that's fine then. So we have a Canadian, we have an Englishman, and we have a serial killer. That's
one
fine.
From Illinois. So the real life namesake of Michael Myers called Irwin to have the film Assault on Precinct 13 go into the London Film Festival. And it became a hit in the UK. Because it became a hit in the UK, Irwin was like, well, I want to do a horror movie. And he looked it up and he was like, this is weird. No one's ever done a horror movie just called Halloween. So he was like, I've got kind of an idea here where I want to have somebody stalking babysitters on Halloween, and his idea was that it was a universal thing where everybody knows a babysitter, everybody was a babysitter, or everybody had a babysitter. So he thought it was very relatable.
Right.
Like, to be left alone at home with this teenager who's taking care of you, and vice versa, where you're in charge of these fucking kids.
Yes.
Or, you know. So he went to John, and he was like, John, I got an idea. How much money do you need for this? And John just said, I want my name above the title. I want to be able to do the music. I want to write the script, and I'll do it for $300,000.
$300,000.
Yes, which is not a lot of money even then.
That's so low.
Yeah. So Irwin was like, all right, great. And Irwin didn't have the money at the time, but he was like, all right, that sounds cheap enough.
Yeah. We could do it. Let's go.
So Irwin Yablans goes to Mustafa Akkad, who is this businessman that Yablans has worked with in the past. He's doing like big epic movies, and he says, I want to do this horror movie. He gets him on the phone with Carpenter. They kind of trick him into agreeing to it, and they get the funding to put together Halloween. So Deborah Hill and John Carpenter get to work writing the script. Deborah writes all of the girls' dialogue, and then Carpenter has to figure out how to write the evilness into it.
The evil.
So, and he has said that his idea was to make the shape somebody that you could completely not relate to. And he based it off of, according to him in these documentaries, he went to, in college, he went to an insane asylum. They took him to like this kid's psychiatric ward or psychiatric hospital or something. And he said he caught eye contact with some kid that was in, you know, a cell or a pen or whatever you call
psychiatric care.
Yeah. Like 12-year-old kid that had like schizophrenia or something like that. And he just stared at John Carpenter. And he said, like, it was the creepiest thing, and that's why he gives that speech to Loomis of, like, the devil's eyes, like, the blackness. Like, there was, like, nothing behind his eyes. Yeah. So that was the catalyst for it. And they named him Michael Myers in the script to thank Michael Myers, who got them into the London Film Festival.
Isn't that lovely? What a lovely thing to be named after, to have a serial killer named after you.
You're immortalized.
I mean, it's pretty cool.
Forever.
Honestly, it's kind of cool. I just don't know if, like, are you trying to say something? Are you trying to say something?
Well, the interesting thing about it, though, is they never call him Michael Myers.
No.
As a character. He is only known as the Shape.
Right.
That's because they don't want it to be... It could be anybody. You know, evil can change shape. We'll get to that way down the line.
Oh, yeah.
And Rachel's complicated thoughts about that. The Halloween Ends. Oh. That's the premise of Halloween.
Oh, yeah. That'll be an interesting one for us to talk about. That's actually very true.
Yeah.
That might have a good conversation.
Yeah. John then needed to, and Irwin needed to, and Deborah needed to cast this thing. John Carpenter wanted I can't remember the actress's name, but she turned them down. So Deborah Hill said, well, why not Jamie Lee Curtis? So the whole thing that they were trying to do here was make Psycho updated. Like, what's an updated version that we can do Psycho with? Especially because Irwin Yablans was like, I don't want any gore. Like, let's do this, like, purely with, like, atmosphere. So that's,
Which is great. I love atmosphere when it comes to horror movies.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah, because gore is a little...
Psycho was another one that used to scare me when I was little, too.
And I don't know if I've seen
it. Might not scare me now as much. But it scared the crap out of me when I was a kid, and I watched parts of Psycho.
Sure. But that was the idea. Like, they were trying to do this, like, Hitchcock stuff. So when Deborah said, let's get Jamie Lee, I think that appealed to John and Irwin Yablans because it was like, oh, she's the daughter of Janet Leigh from Psycho.
Yep.
So this is, like, the passing of the torch of, like, this is the new way that we're going to do horror is through Halloween. And she said yes because she was trying to be an up-and-coming person. A Nepo baby, though, as they say, Rachel.
I mean, obviously, most of them are.
Yeah,
somebody knows somebody.
For those of you out there that
or
have
is
been,
related
like,
to somebody.
In Hollywood, yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
Like, we've been making that point as we've gone on the journey, I think. Because for those of you out there that are like, oh, all these Nepo babies, that's all the way. It's like, well, this was 1978. and
it still was happening
so this
then.
Was 45 plus years ago, and this was happening already. So they got Jamie Lee Curtis. And then they were trying to get Christopher Lee to play Dr. Loomis. Rachel, I don't know if you'll remember this, but Dr. Sam Loomis is from Psycho. So it's another Psycho connection, is the name Sam Loomis. Because that's the name of the boyfriend in Psycho.
Yeah.
So we've been doing this forever, folks, is taking the stuff from the old and putting it in the new.
Right, and making like callbacks to different things and little Easter eggs.
Subtle enough.
They like to. Honestly, I would call them Easter eggs because it's kind of like did you know?
And then Wes Craven would do it 19 years later in Scream with Billy Loomis. Because that was the boyfriend in Scream. So we just repeat ourselves.
It's great.
Repeat ourselves.
But in good ways sometimes.
And in bad sometimes.
Yes.
Anything could be repeated as long as it's good. No one's going to care.
Right. If it's bad,
people
don't care.
So they wanted to get Christopher Lee to play Loomis, but they couldn't get him. He turned it down, and he said it was like the biggest regret of his career.
Oh, I could imagine.
So Christopher Lee was Dracula. He was in, Dracula. He's in a bunch of other stuff, but Dracula is like his most well-known thing. And I think that's why Carpenter wanted him.
Dracula.
That sounds insulting, but that is like his thing, is that he's known for Dracula.
Okay, I didn't realize Christopher Lee was also Sauron in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. He had a resurgence. I'm saying at the time he was known for Dracula.
I realized. I pull him up and it's immediately I look at him and go, it's Sauron. Or Saruman. Saruman in Lord of the Rings.
And he was also Count Dooku, let's not forget.
Count who what?
Count Dooku in Attack of the Clones. He's Count Dooku.
Okay. That's fine. That's
on the list, and Rachel's gonna have to do it sooner than she thinks.
Stop it.
She thought she was going to be able to pass off Star Wars for
Can
like
we do
another
Lord of the
7
Rings
years.
before we do another Star Wars, please?
We got 9 Star Wars to go through, though. We only have 3 Lord of the Rings.
Is so much better.
Yeah,
there's
but
3. There's the Hobbits as well. You have to count those.
That's going to be hard. Okay.
I prefer the Lord of the Rings, but I don't know these.
What does it say he's most known for, or is it all the stuff from like? When
I just went to the list of everything. Oh, he's in Moulin Rouge, uncredited. Okay, so let's see. We have Horror of Dracula, The Mummy, like the original Mummy in 1959.
It might actually be
The Man Who Could Cheat
That's actually
Death.
a Hammer horror remake, probably. But yeah, continue.
Well, one of the original.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah. They did them in the 30s, and then they did remakes in the 50s
right.
of all of them
Yeah.
because again, that's how we work as human beings.
Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll. I'm just looking at.
Yeah,
he's
in horror.
A lot
stuff.
of horror movies.
He's a horror icon. So like that makes sense of why Carpenter would want him.
The Alfred Hitchcock Hour.
And then the other guy that Carpenter wanted was Peter Cushing, who had just been in Star Wars. So he was like, crap, he's going to be too big and he's not going to want it. And I don't even think that they like were able to get it to him because of, having all of these different things because he was just in Star Wars. So Yablans said, well, I kind of like Donald Pleasance. So he had seen Donald Pleasance in some Westerns, and Donald Pleasance played Blofeld in 007. So for him, it was like, oh, yeah, like, this guy can play crazy, and he can play subtle, and he can play this type of character that you kind of want based on what I think you're going for in the script. So they had to pay Donald Pleasance more than they I think they were hoping to pay this character, but Irwin Yablans was kind of like, you need a little bit of gravitas, because you're doing this with a bunch of nobodies, you're doing this on a very low budget.
True.
He'll add some gravitas to it. So they
give it a name, give it to somebody.
Yeah, give it somebody to say Donald Pleasance in. So they've got the cast together that way. Most of this production is done but with friends. Most of this production
friends, family,
yeah.
low budget.
Yeah, really low budget.
Wearing their own clothes, apparently. Yeah. I read that somewhere, that they actually just wore their own clothes for the movie.
Like Jamie Lee
Curtis went to JCPenney's.
Yeah.
She went to JCPenney's and bought her outfits for less than $100.
That makes sense.
And that's what she wore in the movie. I'm like, oh, that's a fun fact. I like that.
Yeah. But it's this little movie that could. It's just this little independent film. Them doing this for fun. They were all young. John Carpenter was like 29 or 30 when they did it. So they're just putting together this movie for themselves, kind of. They use some different techniques. They use some interesting stuff. The shape is one of John Carpenter's friends that just wanted to hang out on set.
And he's like, I need you to stand here.
Yeah. So they
be this character for a minute for me.
So they put it together, and then they can't get anybody to watch it and distribute it.
Right.
And they do screenings at colleges, and people at the colleges are like, you people think that this is going to be anything, because the film people at the colleges are a little bit pretentious.
Of course.
And
no offense,
John
but,
Carpenter and Deborah Hill are like, oh, this thing's going to bomb, like, whatever. And so Irwin Yablans was a master of getting the stuff distributed. That was his job, right? So he was like, I don't have enough sway to get this in, like, a bunch of theaters. But he was able to get prints from an executive friend of his, and they went town to town. So they started in Kansas City, and it did, like, okay. And then they went somewhere else, and then it did okay. And then somebody called one of his, like, buddies or, like, one of the executive friends, and they were like, well, we could probably get you in the Chicago Film Festival, which was a big deal.
Honestly, that's a big deal, especially since this was
set in Illinois. Yeah, so I think that probably helped the fact that it was there, too. And it got rave reviews at the Chicago Film Festival. People loved it there. And it just expands. And I don't know if movies can do this anymore, because this would have just been thrown on Shudder or something. Right? Like, today.
Probably.
Maybe it would have gotten picked up by, like, HBO Max or Amazon Prime or something like that. I don't think this would have been... Netflix would have buried the shit out of it.
Netflix would have gotten buried because there's so many things on there.
Yeah.
And it would have just gotten buried. And like I said, I've been trying to find those ones that are buried and are really good. So
and they are there.
They are there.
We'll have to add them to the digital list.
I'll add them there. But then you guys can find out about
ability to expand, the ability to just have word of mouth spread to make it this everlasting movie.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
To go like 4 months or whatever and just continue and expand and expand and expand, to be not competing with Superman, but to be in the theaters with Superman by the time that came out. See previous episode. That now we have made $47 million out of 300,000. It's the most successful at the time independent film.
Could you imagine? That's a lot of money.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And it's because it was good. That's all it takes. Or we'll find out if it has shelf life, but it was good.
It's simple, and they worked together well.
And they worked hard, and John Carpenter is a great director.
Yeah, very clever. He's a very clever director.
Well, you said it, Rachel. I mean, you said what you want. After we finished the movie, you said what you want out of Hollywood.
I do. I want another John Carpenter. I want, I'm like, we need a modern day John Carpenter. And I think it would be amazing if we could get one.
Yeah.
Because it's so clever. It's so clever and well thought out and just goes with it. And it works.
John Carpenter was paid $10,000 to direct this movie. He was also given, because I think he just threw it on there like, yeah, give me this, because I know it's not going to make much, 10% of the profits. So I just said it made $47 million out of a budget of $300,000. John Carpenter made out like a bandit. Pretty well with this one.
Just enough to get by.
So it makes a shitload of money. They have to end up making sequels. They go to Franchise Town. They've made 13 now of these. Is that right? Let me think about this.
I kind of love that it's at number 13.
There are 6 original ones, and then there's H2O, and then there's Resurrection, and then there's the Rob Zombies, and then there's all of the David Gordon Greens. How many does that make? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 13. So there are 13 of these.
I love that there's 13.
They're all on the list because as much as like, and I understand it, I totally understand it when you'll go around the internet and someone will say that this is like the worst, in quotes. It's not the worst. It's the worst slasher franchise. It's not the worst. But it's the most convoluted.
The story.
There are alternate. This is like the multiverse of
like I said,
there's a multiverse of Mike Myers stuff.
They change the lore, they change background stuff, they go crazy with the story, they change how Michael works. It's nuts.
But for some reason I find them, and it's because of the nostalgia probably.
Oh, of course.
And it's because of this one probably. Mm-hmm. But I really like the Halloween franchise. So even though some of the movies can be dog crap, it still sticks with me. So they're all on the list.
But are they on the shelf?
And is this Halloween 1978 have shelf life? Rachel, anything else before we hit the break?
No.
I didn't know if you had anything else.
I don't know. I was trying to think of something. I thought you were just going to say Rachel, and then I was going to be like, we'll find out after the break.
Oh, okay. Good idea. Rachel.
We'll find out after the break.
After a word from our...
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Our fake sponsor. We'll find out after our fake sponsor.
When we come back, the night he came home.
Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, silver shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, silver shamrock.
It's almost time, kids. The clock is ticking. Be in front of your TV sets for the Horathon. And remember the big giveaway at 9. Don't miss it. And don't forget to wear your masks. The clock is ticking. It's almost time.
Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, silver shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, silver shamrock.
And we're back. I was trying to do a spooky "we're back," and then it just came out like
we're back.
There you go. Thank you. I knew someone was going to do it.
Ooh.
With the walkthrough for John Carpenter's Halloween from 1978, the main event for Volume 2 of Shelf Life. This is a big one.
This is a big one. This is
Hold on to your butts.
Hold on to your butts. That's right.
So we're going to get right into it here with Halloween. The movie begins, Mustafa Akkad presents, and it just hits you over the head with these opening credits. The theme just starts right away. Donald
the nostalgia
Pleasance
for the theme, too.
Okay. I guess we have to stop. We have to talk about this theme. Because it is the first thing that happens, so we have to talk about it.
It's true.
So John Carpenter is a musician
as well.
Yeah. And I think he's one of those like frustrated, wanted to be a rock star type of guys, and he's like, well, I can do this filmmaking, I suppose. And
then maybe
too.
I'll get to put some music.
Because I think he wanted to do all of it. He wanted it to be his movies, right?
Sure. It's one of those people. We want to do everything ourselves too.
Yes, we do.
So I understand him.
So, yeah, and he wanted to come up with a theme for the movie, because what he realized, this is one of his stories. He had screened it for an executive, I think he said at Fox, he called it 20th Century Fox. He had screened it for someone at Fox, and he said that the executive said, this is not very scary. This isn't, like, that great. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's well made, but
scared.
there's nothing scary about it.
Yeah.
So he was like, okay, like, I need to add score.
Sure.
So
which can really, truly make or break a movie.
It completely changes everything.
Changes the tone so well.
There's that YouTube video which they take the music out of the final scene in E.T. and it just plays really awkwardly as opposed to triumphantly.
A lot of movies, I think, if you pulled the music out of it would be super awkward.
So, at least according to John Carpenter,
there's even like shows and stuff that I watch where a lot of dialogue actually comes from the person's thoughts. And the actor even said, he goes, it was sometimes awkward where I would be just standing there thinking my lines because it was all already recorded. And the other person would say something, and he would just kind of stare off into space for a while.
Well, wouldn't you, like, kind of think about...
Well, yeah, but he's just supposed to sit there and stare because he's thinking the lines. And he goes, so it just kind of is silence, and it's very awkward.
Oh, like on set. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's everything. Like, nowadays, everything is green screen. Like, you can't even tell what the fuck you're looking at most of the time.
That's true.
So Carpenter wanted to come up with a theme for the killer and for the movie. He was taught 5/4 time by his dad on the bongos, I think he says.
Oh, okay.
So, for those of you that are not film aficionados, music aficionados, most of what you hear most of the time is probably 4/4 time, which just is your typical beat, which is what most stuff is in. And then you can have 3/4 time, you can have
Think of a waltz.
2/4 time. It all just kind of depends on what kind of music you're listening to. Marches are in 2/4 time or 6/8 time or whatever. But 5/4 time is unnatural to the human ear because it's five. I'm gonna get this wrong because I'm a little lapsed in my music theory.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But it's 5 notes hitting in a 4-bar measure. Yeah. So what would that be then? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah, there it is. Okay. So it's unnatural because there's no way for a person to do it rhythmically without forcing yourself to do it. And your brain gets tricked into thinking there's something spooky about this.
Yeah, there's something off.
Yeah, there's something off.
Because people and people's brains like patterns and they like rhythms.
Yeah.
And when it's a weird rhythm, you notice it.
And so, of course, he comes up with the iconic score for Halloween. I know I've said this a lot this season.
Oh, that's true.
But this is one of the greatest scores of all time. One
It's
of the greatest
great.
pieces of music of all time.
And anytime I ever heard it growing up, man, did it always just bring a chill for me because I always just was creeped out by it. Instantly brings back the memories.
I mean, there should be times where I could just play this or Tubular Bells, and I think that I could creep you out on a regular basis.
You're mean.
You got to do what you got to do. I think it's interesting. I can't remember who has said this. It might have been the Red Letter Media guys. I can't remember. He essentially made a theme song for a holiday.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like this is the theme song to the holiday at this point.
This is a movie for the holiday as well. It is called Halloween. It is made for the spooky times. The song is made for the spooky times as well.
But like it is weird because like if you go into like a haunted house, like they're gonna just play. This is gonna be something that's just played because it's just this
that,
is
like The
spooky.
Exorcist.
Yeah, Tubular Bells.
I don't like that one either. Don't do that.
No, that one's creepy too.
You're mean. You're
but
mean.
I mean, like they're all.
My brother is mean. Everybody, I hope you know
not
this.
mean. But they've listened to 20 20
He's
subjects.
a big brother. This is what he is.
So the opening credits start. The opening credits, long as hell.
Oh,
But it lets you enjoy the theme, and then you've got that sweet font, that John Carpenter font.
Right. It's such a weird and very simple opening because it's literally just a jack-o'-lantern glowing
and getting
text.
closer to you.
That's
you
true,
zoom
too.
in on the face of this jack-o'-lantern.
Right.
I don't understand
It's
exactly.
a dead face. It's empty.
Oh, you think
it's
that's
hollow.
why?
Yes.
It's hollow.
A jack-o'-lantern is a hollow, dead, lifeless face.
Yeah,
Just
it
like
can't
Michael
move,
Myers.
I suppose. Oh boy, Rachel's getting deep now.
Oh, I'm
She's
gonna
trying
get
to
deep.
cut this deep.
Oh, I'm gonna do it.
Should we talk about the jack-o'-lanterns?
But that's
for
why
a
we're
second?
zooming in on it, because it's like we're going into like the lifeless emptiness is like coming towards you. Like how creepy is that?
Dark eyes, the devil's eyes.
The whole idea was like a jack-o'-lantern's supposed to scare off evil spirits.
Is that why? Is that what it
Yes.
is?
Yeah.
It's not just a face on a pumpkin? I don't know these things. I'm asking you.
Hold on. Because this is for All Hallows Eve.
Folks at home, Rachel's going to look this up, but if she's wrong, I want to know. I mean, she's looking it up, so she won't be wrong, but I want to know.
Well, that's why I'm pretty sure that's what it's for, yes. So a jack-o'-lantern is supposed to be carved and put out, lit up, and put outside of your home to ward off evil spirits on All Hallows Eve, All Hallows Night, because it's supposed to be the night where the living and the dead can come together.
Sure.
And you don't want them to come into your home, so you have something to ward them off.
Probably.
That's also why you wear costumes, because they're supposed to not know who you are, and like you dress up to.
Oh, you're trying to dodge the
It's kind of
the
idea.
RIPD.
So there's a lot more to it, and you guys can, of course, let us know.
Rachel
all
will
of it.
have
I
a
always find
separate
I find it
podcast
fascinating,
about
so
the
maybe
history
I'll
of
put a blog.
Halloween.
Maybe I'll put a blog up.
There you go. Yeah.
Because I do find the history of
I
it
can't
is very
remember our
interesting.
websites. what the site's URL is. Plug the website. wix.shelflife.life.podcast.shelf.
There's so much of it. Shelf life.
I bet if you just Google Shelf Life Podcast, it comes up
now I'm
as
curious. Shelf Life
like shouldn't it come up as like a in the Google?
You know when that Googles?
Yeah, so she's gonna put her blog up about the history of Halloween. Maybe she'll have another podcast about it. Oh wait, no, it could go on our blog.
Yeah, it could go on our blog.
Shelf Life the blog. What's the website?
shelflifepodcast.wixsite.com/shelflife. I know it's a mouthful, okay?
This is a hobby, folks.
Yeah, I'm not paying for a domain right now. That's what you get.
If enough of you bastards listen to us, then we can actually have a normal site. So we go
Anyways.
so we get through the credits, directed by John Carpenter. There's that creepy little kid rhyme, which we think he came up with.
I can't find it anywhere else. If you guys know where that's from, let us know. But all I kept finding was that it just comes from this movie.
Yeah, so him or Deborah Hill came up with that. We're thinking. And then it shows us Haddonfield, Illinois. Haddonfield, Illinois is a fake city in Illinois. It is not real.
Right.
Like I had to say that like it was wrestling. It's fake. It's not
fake.
real. It's just supposed to represent like the Midwest. John is from Kentucky, and then Deborah Hill is from Haddonfield, New Jersey. So they just kind of combined those thoughts. And I don't know why Illinois. I guess because it's more the middle.
I guess so, yeah.
That's why. So that is the essence or the history behind Haddonfield. What we end up learning about this town is that everybody in it sucks. And everybody in it sucks because of Michael Myers. I think that's kind of
true.
Yeah, yeah. So the opening shot we get is of the Myers house. It is a very simple looking, I don't know, 1960s house. And you approach it as though you are walking as a character toward this house. And we
It's almost shotgun style, too, the house itself.
What does that mean?
Oh, it's like, it goes back far. So you go, like, through the house. Never mind.
That's like the architecture you're
That's
saying?
the architecture.
Okay.
Moving on.
Would not have. I wouldn't know about that at all.
That's normally a southern thing,
Okay,
but for some reason I looked at this and I was like, oh, it's kind of almost shotgun style, but usually that means like the doors go all the way through, so you can get a breeze all the way through the home.
That'll be
we're not gonna
Rachel's
talk about
second
this.
blog about breaking down the floor plan of the Myers house.
I could build it. That would be fun. Anyways.
This is going to be an 8-hour-long podcast. We're going to beat you, Jack and JP. We're going for the fucking record. So, anyway, this movie was shot by Dean Cundy, who is a very famous DP now, but at the time he was just some guy that was working with John Carpenter. But he's done The Thing and Jurassic Park and Jack and Jill and all of these famous movies. He did. But he's done a ton of stuff. He's a great director of photography. And at the time, John was looking for something innovative to do with the picture. He wanted to do something cool. So they went out and they got, and this is of course in all the documentaries, so I won't belabor the point, but they went out and they got these new cameras by Panavision that were called Panaglides.
That was the most expensive thing
Yeah, most of the
in
budget.
this entire movie.
Yeah, were the cameras.
Yep. Worth it.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. So the idea is that somebody's got it around their waist. Like you'd see on like a football field now. Like they like run up after like somebody scores a touchdown or the basketball courts or whatever. Like they'll run up with the camera around their waist
Right.
so that they can make it look like you're like right in the middle of the action.
They want you to feel like you're there.
Yeah, and that's the same thing here, that they're trying to make you feel like you are whoever you are.
You could put on a VR headset and it would feel like you're walking around.
It should be very interesting to watch this movie with
I would
a
hate
VR
it,
headset.
but I'm just saying.
So we approach the house because we're in the eyes of someone here, and this was all one long take too, which is awesome to think about. That's a staple that they come back to in the sequels in the David Gordon Green Halloweens, is to do these long takes of Michael Myers walking around and doing stuff. But
I do love when movies and TV shows do stuff like that too.
and it's unsettling, and it was different at the time for sure. So it is a really interesting technique that they went with, and that John was able to like pull off and Dean Cundey was able to like pull off. So they like talk about it in the documentaries, like all the people that like needed to be involved and all the
Right,
takes
they'll be
that
like
happened.
moving stuff around
Yeah.
and like having to cut at certain points, but make it trick you into thinking it wasn't cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
We could talk about just the techniques they used for 8 hours,
Right.
but we have to continue with the plot here. So,
People are making out.
yes, there's a couple, as you do, couple making out, 1963 on a couch, and the
It's
boy.
Halloween because there's like a mask.
We
and
know
there's,
that
like-
it says it was Halloween
Well, I'm
night.
just saying,
yeah.
you know.
So the boyfriend is like, "Is there anybody else around?" And the girl says, "Michael's around here somewhere," but they're like, "Let's go do our thing."
Yeah, you know. They're either gonna make out some more, you know, get it on,
Well,
whatever.
The lights turn doodaloo, the lights turn off. So the figure from the outside that we're in the eyes of goes around the back of the house, goes inside, and starts to kind of stalk around the house. Again, and this is all just one shot of just somebody kind of walking with the camera into this house.
And it's quiet.
It's very quiet.
It's just like music.
There's no lights anywhere in this goddamn movie either.
And I think that's just because they couldn't afford it. But
Very, very possible. So
but
they
yeah, a lot of it's just like shot in the dark. I guess if you're thinking you're safe and you just constantly have the lights off.
Yeah, I guess so. I turn lights on all the damn time,
Well,
though.
that's because we were traumatized with this movie
Sure,
as a child.
I'm sure. So this hand that looks kind of small reaches into a drawer, pulls out a knife, and then they continue to go in and around the house. So you're getting like a little bit of like the layout of this house. It looks like just a regular, normal house that
Yeah,
you
very
probably see in the
classic.
60s. You're going kind of slowly through it because it's supposed to be like building the tension and everything.
Which it does.
And eventually, the boyfriend, I'm going to call him Brad, because he looks like a Brad.
Yeah.
And we know how we've
And
got...
he doesn't have a name.
Yeah, he doesn't have a name.
He
He's
is
just
just
boyfriend.
the boyfriend.
He's
So
putting his
boyfriend Brad.
shirt back on, and he's coming down the stairs. So something happened up there.
You know, they did something.
Yeah,
And he's
they
leaving.
did something. They did something
In those
so
2 minutes.
well that they went up there, did the
deed.
as John Carpenter says in one of those documentaries. He got dressed
Yes.
and came down the stairs in the amount of time less than the amount of time that we talked just now.
That's actually very true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect high schoolers right there.
Yeah, she must not have been satisfied.
Just gonna I don't have anything else to say.
Because it's true.
All right, folks at home, let us know. Was she satisfied? So, because the boyfriend left, now the camera, this character walks up the stairs. Did the 60s just have these like shitty staircase? I mean, they
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. The thin staircases that were super steep.
Yeah.
It's like the thing. Because it, like, saved space.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were cheap and weird back then. So
Still cheap and weird now.
we get one of the camera cuts here because it cuts to a room and the hand goes down and picks up this clown mask and puts the clown mask on.
Creepy. Clowns are creepy.
Yeah, well, and we'll get to the mask in a little bit. Then you're seeing it through the eyes in this clown mask, and you walk in on this girl who is just got underwear on. She's got no top on, so you get a
Brushing her hair.
little boobage, and she's brushing her hair. She turns around and is like, "Michael, you pervert!" And Michael immediately starts just stabbing.
Yeah, something's happening. You can only see through, like, the eyes of the mask. But he does, or, like, they turn and look at their own hand with the knife. So you know that they're stabbing this girl.
Rachel, I posited this to you, and I wanted to kind of get to know your thoughts on this. So, the idea is that you're seeing them through the eyes, and then immediately when the stabbing starts to happen, you're supposed to like completely disconnect with the fact that this is like a character, right?
Right.
Do you think that it is supposed to be because you look? It's weird, right? Because that's why they do that effect. But in like storyline here, in the theory that we as we do,
Of course.
is the knife supposed to be like because you're
Michael.
in the
We
eyes.
are Michael. We
You're
are
looking up
the
and
shape.
you're watching the knife
Yourself.
go in. You're not looking forward. You're looking up at your hand. So is it supposed to be that because this is his mental break,
Right.
What we're told about Michael Myers is that he was a perfectly normal kid. And then, for whatever reason, he just does this.
Yeah,
and
he
it's
snaps.
like, what happened? I'm asking, like, was this supposed to be, like, him turning and being like, what am I doing? Like, he doesn't understand what he was doing because his evilness has just taken over.
Right. Or...
No, I'm just asking, like, is that
Oh.
is that
I
is
thought
that
it
what we're
was an or.
no, I'm just saying, like, is that what we're supposed
okay,
to think?
so I think that is one way to take it. My other thought is that kid is gone. That kid's not even thinking,
It's
oh my
the
god,
shape
what am I
now.
doing? It's the shape going, I like this. This is interesting. Because we find out that Michael's very theatrical.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if he's, like, admiring his own work as he's doing it here.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's, like, stabbing and, like, watching the stab
Fair point,
parting
yeah.
happen. Because
Yeah.
it's like, I don't care where it's going into, but, like, oh, I like this, like, motion, this feeling.
Yeah. That's
So I'm
fair.
wondering if that could be the other way to take it. Because I do think it could be him, like, maybe this is, like, the break part and he's still kind of there going, oh my god, I can't believe I'm doing this. And it just, like, the second after it's gone, he's just disappears.
Yeah.
Or it could be him admiring his handiwork, pretty much.
Yeah. Folks at home, let us know if you have another theory about
What are
that.
your thoughts?
I think it's obviously like they just wanted to get the knife in there because it's an homage to Psycho. Because you
Right,
know, you don't
homage
see
to Psycho, not a lot of gore.
There's no gore,
some
you
boob,
don't
a little bit
see-
of splatter.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
there's no boob in Psycho. They couldn't show boob.
I know, but this is 1978.
Yeah, so you gotta show
so you
boob.
gotta get a little boob.
Yeah.
This is an homage to the Psycho of If We Could Have Boob.
God,
Okay,
gotcha.
the Psycho did the crazy thing of
Because
letting
I originally wanted boobs in the picture, but I
well-
was not allowed.
Psycho got a toilet flush of a woman too. She flushed a toilet, and that was a
I
scandal.
thought you were calling Janet Leigh a toilet flush.
No,
It's like, this is
No.
slanderous.
no, I'm saying she flushed a toilet in
Yeah.
that movie, and that was a scandal. People thought that was nuts.
I got off to the toilet being flushed in the movie.
But it's true, and her actually being in the shower and everything was a huge, like, oh my god.
No, we'll talk about that when we get to the Psycho.
I know,
episode.
but I'm just saying, so, like, they're pushing the boundaries. Here's a boob, you know?
I don't know if they were pushing the boundaries with a boob. There were plenty of boobs on screen.
But if he's doing
And there were
homage-
tits! Hey! I'm here all week. Because boobs could be like...
The boob as in, like, the bird, the boob?
No, I meant like dummies, like dumb people.
Well, that too, yeah.
Anyway, what were you saying? I'm sorry. I derailed you.
So anyways, moving on.
So the character Michael walks down the stairs. We find out that this is the sister eventually. I can't remember when we find out that this is the sister, but we eventually find out that this is the sister.
Well, I mean... Yeah,
Judith
because
Myers.
this could have been the babysitter.
Could have been the babysitter just doing it in Michael's family's
Which
house.
I wonder if that could have been better if that was the babysitter.
No, I like that it's his sister.
Well, yeah, no, now at this point I do. I'm just wondering if that's what they originally thought. Like,
Oh, like well,
because
you don't know.
the
Yeah,
original
yeah.
story
It's
wanted
hard
to-
to
was
it's
gonna be
hard to go
called-
back and understand what this movie would be without
Sure.
the osmosis of
but
it.
they were going to call it the babysitter killer. So, like, if this was his babysitter when he was a baby, right, and he kills her, and then he grows up and he kills more babysitters, it kind of makes...
Well, she was babysitting him.
I know, but at the same... It's a sister, so
Yeah.
it's not the same as, like, just a babysitter.
Sure.
So it's, like, just the babysitter killer.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember exactly when it comes up that it was his sister.
Right.
So he comes out of the house, and
Clown costume.
he's got his clown costume. on.
Like classic clown costume. Poofy clown.
Yeah, poofy clown.
Yeah.
And this car pulls up, and his parents come out, and the dad is just like, Michael, because
Like, what's going on?
he's
You're
holding
holding a
this
butcher knife
knife.
with blood on it.
And the parents, I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to make this like almost like a freeze frame of like they're shocked, but it comes off as weird because they're just kind of standing there.
Yeah. Like, the mom puts her hands in her... I know I pointed
You're wrong
this
about
out.
this.
I know
But
I'm
go
wrong
ahead.
about this.
I disagree, but go ahead.
I know I'm wrong about this, but she puts her hands in her pockets, and it's kind of like, oh, God, what did you do now? Like, that's kind of like the feeling I get from her. Like, the dad's just like, Michael, and then just kind of like stares at him like, what? And then she just is like...
Because
and puts her
Michael
hands
is
in her
just
pockets,
standing there
staring.
catatonically.
Absolutely catatonic at that point.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe these parents. I don't know. They never say what happens to Mr. and Mrs. Myers I kind of want to know what all these people are doing on Halloween, too. Like, we go to a Halloween party. Like, they look like
I
they're
assume she
dressed
went to
up.
a Halloween. I assume that the parents went to a Halloween party.
What the sequels will end up telling you is there's either a baby in this house or there's a baby in that car. Because which is a weird thing to think about.
I guess it could be sleeping.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's
sister's
either a baby in the
babysitting,
house or there's a
yeah.
baby in the car, according to Halloween 2 and some of the sequels.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah,
it's
that's
possible.
fine. Yeah.
Because he did it and then ran out of the house. He's not gonna go kill Lori.
Sure. I mean, he could.
But what happened to these parents? It's completely confusing. So anyway, yes, the
It's
parents.
unnecessary.
The parents do not care that Michael just killed Judith. She was a pain in the ass. Anyway.
I don't think that's what we were thinking at all.
They set him up. They're like,
Finally, good. He actually did it.
God, we've been training him to do this.
Finally.
We left them alone so many times, just waiting
For him to
for Michael to stab this damned girl. She's always bringing Brad back over. Now, finally, he did it. Now, we're going to say that he's crazy, so he doesn't have to go to prison. He's just going to have to go to a crazy
And then we
house.
just leave.
Oh, we're
get the hell out of here.
Not stand. Michael's fine, but I'm not going to stay here. Are you going to stay here? No, you're not going to stay here. We just got to get the hell out of here. If this were to happen, you're breaking up this family.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Even
There's
with the baby.
No way.
Like, I completely... They make it...
Well, they make it seem like the baby must have been put up for adoption.
No, what they say in Halloween 2, I think, is that there was like a car accident.
Oh, so they do say that they were killed.
with
Because
Lori.
my assumption, a horrible assumption, right? I assume a divorce. I kind of assume a
Yes,
suicide.
you would get a divorce at
Well,
the very least.
I assume
Rob
one of-
Zombie says that
Yeah.
you would get.
I assume one of them dies young, or someone commits suicide.
You
or
move.
something
You
like
move.
that.
You go from Haddonfield, Illinois, to Tacoma, Washington, or Topeka, Kansas. You get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
You are not staying in Haddonfield, Illinois, because now you're the creepy. You're like, how are you gonna walk around town being like, oh yeah, how is the, like, at least granted, he killed the daughter, so it's not like he killed somebody else's
Sure.
kid, but
It's
you
in
still
the
had,
family.
You still had to deal with that.
That sounds
no,
weird.
No.
No.
So we go from that night, the inciting incident, to give you the backstory of what happened here. The Shape is Born with Michael Myers here. It really pans out and sticks on there for a long time. So after the first night, it cuts to Smiths Grove, Illinois. So there's the Smiths Grove Mental Institution, or whatever they call it, the asylum.
Yeah, I think they call it an asylum. They're
It
mental
is-
institutions now.
It is now 15 years later, is October 30th, 1978. And it is a stormy night, and we get the introduction of Sam Loomis. What we'll end up learning is his doctor and the nurse, whose name I cannot remember, but it's also the nurse. She comes back in some of the sequels. I think she's actually killed off in a couple of these sequels.
In a couple?
Yeah. She's killed off in at least a couple of these sequels.
I'm assuming what you mean is that when, like, it's like a
To the different
reboot.
timelines.
Okay. I'm like, did they do a continuity thing?
No, she's killed off in the She's killed off in the H2O timeline. She's killed off in the David Gordon Green timeline. Mary and the nurse.
Well, she doesn't seem to. I mean, she seems kind of fed up with her job at this point.
Yeah, she's gotta go take care of these patients while they're gonna go. All they're doing is like going in front of a judge.
Sure.
So we end up learning that Loomis is paranoid about Michael.
Oh, and it's not really Michael, and it's not him. It's it.
Yeah. She tells Loomis that she just can't stand the gibberish when they like talk nonsense and stuff. That like spooks her out and creeps her out. And Loomis is like, well, you don't have to worry about that. He hasn't said anything in 15 years, so he's not going to say anything.
No gibberish, no nothing.
Yeah, that's when, as you said, like Rachel, like she says, "Can't we refer to it as him?" And he says, all he says back is, "Don't underestimate it." Like,
You haven't anything to worry about. He hasn't spoken a word in 15 years.
Are there any special instructions?
Just try to understand what we're dealing with here. Don't underestimate it,
Don't you think we could refer to it as him?
if you say so.
Your compassion's overwhelming, Doctor.
So they have this like little back and forth. She's smoking in the car because it's 1978. Sam Loomis doesn't smoke, interestingly enough.
Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of surprised.
Well, you know,
But he does notice her
pack of cigarettes. Whatever
well, it's like
is.
the pack of
the brand of
cigarettes
cigarettes
and
yeah.
the
the matches. Yeah,
Yeah.
It zooms in. It's a purpose. It's
yeah.
like a little like thing to like make you remember when as you find out later
because it's
on.
bright red, so they really made it something that would like stick in your head.
Mm-hmm. He tells her to pump him full of Thorazine when they go in front of the judge because he doesn't want him to like be able to even sit up. Like he's like, yeah, that's the idea. Like he does not want him. He doesn't want Michael to be able to get out.
Right.
He's very paranoid, really, because as far as we know, he's just been this catatonic, like sit and stare patient
Right.
for 15 years. It's impossible to see anything as they're approaching because it's just raining so hard. It's supposed to be like very atmospheric. It's very creepy. It is, this big
You're going to
thunderstorm.
an asylum,
Yeah,
which can be like a scary thing. I would say that asylum that's abandoned is scarier than like one that's being used.
One
but...
of the creepiest shots in the movie. The score starts to kick in, and the theme.
Yes.
And we see just inmates wandering around.
There's
in
just
this
patients.
storm.
There's just patients walking around in like the field outside.
Yeah, and they're like
what?
aimlessly walking around. It's very unsettling. It's very creepy.
Because that is not supposed to be.
As you would assume. You don't think that they just like, it's storming out. They like to roam around. I'm gonna try to do a Chicago accent. It's storming outside. We could just put them out there, and they can just wander around into the fields.
Yeah, just go
there.
enjoy the rain. That could be
they
nice.
They like to wander around in the rain. It's fine. We usually do sausage Tuesdays, and then whenever it rains, we just let them out there.
Yeah, they like to look for the tornadoes.
We had one of them get swept up in there, and Michael up over there. He didn't chat too much, but you sit there. Depending on which window he looks out, you can bet on the Bears game. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he looks out the left window, the Bears win. He looks out the right window, the Bears lose 80% of the time.
So most of the time we move him to the left window.
Yeah, we encourage him to look out the left window every single time.
Oh yeah, we try to put something interesting out there.
I don't know if the Oh Yeahs are Chicago or if that's more Minnesotan, but whatever.
know.
Or Milwaukee, but whatever.
It's just popping up.
So anyway, I don't know how close Smiths Grove and Haddonfield are. It feels like they're southern Illinois and middle Illinois and then Chicago.
Yeah, they don't really tell, but that's my guess too. But I'm surprised that I wouldn't be closer to Chicago.
Haddonfield or Smiths Grove?
Smiths Grove. I feel like that would be a little bit closer to the city.
No, I think the opposite.
Oh, you think
I
it's the
think that
opposite?
these things are in the middle of bumfuck nowhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they don't put these type of things near cities. They put them. This is like maximum security crap.
Oh, I guess
they
that's
want
kind
him
of true.
like
They
out
want
in the middle of nowhere.
right, like
Yeah.
big fence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of space in between each fence that they have.
Yeah.
Probably.
I guess
yeah.
what they could have done, since it's Illinois, is that they could have done a crossover with Halloween and the Blues Brothers, and then
Oh
Michael
my
could have been in
God.
Joliet prison with Jake.
Could you imagine?
Yes, I
That would be
can.
horrifying.
It would be an SNL sketch from the 80s for sure.
Yes, it would.
Of Jake and Elwood trying to get Michael to join the Blues Brothers, and they just put some sunglasses on his mask.
Yeah, what would they hand him? He stabs. So maybe if they just put like a tambourine in his
Yeah,
hand.
the
it would,
tambourine.
like-
I think he could pull that
Yeah,
off.
he could do that.
Yeah. That's 2 tangents that we've done in the first 10 minutes of this movie. Loomis is worried, and he gets out to check the gate, and as he does, in pure John Carpenter fashion, someone jumps on the back of this car.
Oh my
And
god!
it does
in like
this,
a
like-
creepy ass like spider monkey
Yeah,
crawl.
a weird crawl onto
Like,
the
what
back
is
of this car.
that?
Yeah, it's very weird. And the score does this like therapin noise. And she goes to see what it is, so she unrolls the window and tries to look on the roof, and somebody grabs her.
Oh my god, horrifying.
Grabs her head, and the struggle continues because she was driving. So then she kind of like, I'm surprised that they didn't crash.
It wasn't in like park.
The car.
So
I don't think they had the budget to crash the car.
Oh yeah. I mean, it kind of does. I think it's an allusion to like she went off the road at least.
She went off the road. She
and
went off the
because
road
it's like muddy,
a ways
so it's
away.
not like gonna crash. But it's gonna get stuck, right?
And she tries to go to the other side of the car to get away from
the
this
window,
guy.
yeah.
And Michael on the top of the car slams his hand. Yeah, go ahead.
And breaks the window and just like startles her out of the car. Like she just jumps out of the car at that point.
Now for the people that are...
Those eagle eye viewers.
Yes, you can see that there is a wrench connected to the hand.
Yes.
Now, there's two ways to take this. It's just a mistake. It's just that like
it's just a visual mistake.
It's the way that they
tried.
Did
they even
it.
put like a nude colored, like his hand, like nude color tape on him.
Yeah, it was just like Tommy Lee Wallace, the production designer, I think went up there and smashed it with a wrench taped to his hand. They're amateur professional, like we are, and so
they're not gonna CGI that out.
No,
just leave it.
But there's no such thing as CGI, so you're
they're not gonna do it.
Getting. I listened to a podcast like a year ago during like Halloween time, a little podcast. I like it enough. It's called like I Finally Watch or something like that. They had never seen Halloween, and they talked about how they thought it was part of the character of learning how methodical and smart Michael is about all of these schemes. They thought
because he's theatrical.
He was doing it himself to be theatrical
and to actually shatter the window.
Shatter the window. And I like that. I want to put that in headcanon because Michael is methodical and he thinks.
Oh yeah.
He's a great white shark.
A slow burn.
But he's a slow burn. Yeah. He's a great white shark when it comes to targeting and like what's going on in his head, but he's a slow burn of like I'm going to do this and yeah.
Yeah, and like which way am I going to do this? How am I going to go about this?
So he takes the car. Loomis comes back and he's like, "It's gone! It's gone! The evil is gone! It's gone!" This is Loomis's first freak out. Yeah, we get the first Sam Loomis freak out. It's great.
You're all right?
Yes, I'm okay.
He's gone. He's gone from here. The evil is gone.
And then we cut to
Haddonfield.
The next day, Halloween. They filmed this all in California, and on the small budget, they weren't able to make it look totally like it's what you would imagine Illinois looks like around Halloween. There's a lot of greenery.
It's very green.
They had 1 or 2 bags of leaves that they would just drop around like the area that they were filming so that they could have some leaves on the ground.
Having to pick those back up. And,
yeah, that's like, pick them back up. The little ragtag crew. It slowly pans in and a door opens because they're trying to get you the lay of the land of like you're in this Haddonfield town. And Lori comes out. She's headed to school. Her dad comes out and tells her to make sure to drop the key off at the Myers place because he is a real estate agent.
Yeah, you can actually see that on his car too.
Yeah, Strode Realty.
Yep.
So someone was coming around to look at the Myers house at 10:30, which makes me wonder if someone was killed.
Oh, do you think they were murdered? They didn't find a body.
Unless Michael took the key so that they couldn't get in.
Oh, and they couldn't get in. Oh, that makes sense.
That actually could be because he doesn't want people in the house.
Right. And as we'll see it later that he is already in the house.
Yeah, he's already in the house. He remembers how to get in from when he was 6 years old.
I mean, yeah, it's abandoned. Who wants to go see this house anyways? Like,
you could remodel it.
Yeah.
It's been 15 years.
I say, you know what? Somebody was murdered there. Just break it down, build something different on that
maybe
spot.
They're gonna renovate because I mean that house is cursed.
Yeah, you gotta just destroy that house, demolish it, build something new.
Folks at home, a little shelf life lesson for you here: if you're ever looking at a house, make sure to make the realtor tell you if anything.
They don't have to disclose that information.
If you ask it though, you have to.
In some states, they don't.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, in some states they have to disclose if it's haunted, if there was a murder.
They don't have to disclose if it's haunted.
Yes, they do. I have looked this
What is this,
up
like
before.
in fucking New Orleans or something? Folks at home, if you live in one of these states where they have to tell you if it's haunted, you have to ask this question. And I want to know if somebody told you, yeah, this is haunted. There's Beth. She's the ghost that's in the credenza over there. She's
Some
harmless.
people want that, though. That's the thing.
I don't.
I don't either.
But I mean, I live in a townhouse. Folks at home, if our paranormal friends are listening, if you're a ghost that haunts a townhouse, I'm sorry. Like, that's just, I mean, I guess you get to, and I say haunt, I'm hoping that you're like a friendly ghost. But like, and I get that you could go through the walls so you get like a few, different houses, but that just sounds miserable. Like, you're not in like a rustic gothic mansion. Like, how is that a fun afterlife?
I guess
Just in a townhouse with some lonely single person or like some starting couple? The fuck is that?
I guess.
It's not good.
No.
Go ahead.
All right, so there's 4 states currently that specifically mention paranormal activity, like in the real estate disclosure laws, and that is New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Minnesota.
Okay, I do not recall this ever coming up. I'm so kind of surprised it's not Louisiana, because I would have thought New Orleans would be like a...
I would
in here we got the old witch of the Bowery or whatever, and...
There are 9 states that have laws around the disclosure of death of the property.
Okay, so
Only
just
9.
death. Yeah,
Yes.
all right.
So we have California, Alaska, South Dakota, Connecticut, Delaware, Georgia, New Hampshire, New Jersey, and South Carolina.
So New Jersey's just covering all their bases.
Yeah.
All right, so folks at home, do your due diligence, because maybe this Illinois wasn't on any of those lists. So maybe Strode is just trying to screw somebody over and be like, oh yeah, there's nothing bad's ever happened here. Watch that bloodstain. Oh, nothing's ever happened here. It's a perfectly fine house. Why hasn't anyone lived in 15 years? I don't know. It's cockroaches, maybe. You have to do a fumigation.
With the foundation, you might have to get it checked out a little bit.
That's a
but
scene.
see, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
That there are some that have to actually disclose it, but not all of them do.
That's a scene I want now, is Michael in the house and somebody starts just fumigating it.
Oh, no.
And like
They put a tent over it. It's one of those, like, circus tent fumigations.
He's just like, God damn it. I gotta kill this exterminator.
It's where he gets the suit instead of just, like, the
One of the things I like,
handyman.
too, is a lot of these shots of Lori walking around, and their friends walking around, and even Tommy later on, is that it does the Panaglide thing again. So
Yes.
it does, like, these glides where you're almost, like, stalking her.
Yes,
Like, the camera
it feels
is,
like
like,
you're
stalking
stalking her because it's just that feel of that movement, of that slight bounce you have as you walk, and
a lot of this movie is just watching people walk. So
yeah, walking and staring. Little Tommy
Doyle meets up with her. So we've got Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode. I guess I should mention this is the first appearance of Laurie Strode. Tommy wants to make sure that she's still babysitting him later.
Right.
And that they can make popcorn and a jack-o'-lantern and all this kind of
and
stuff.
do all the fun babysitter kid thing.
Yeah.
Because she's obviously his, like, normal
She's
babysitter.
the normal babysitter.
Right.
Yeah. They walk together to school, because I'm guessing the elementary school's near the high school, and they walk past the Myers house. And Tommy's like, you can't go in the Myers house. That's a spook house.
I mean, it is, like, dilapidated and, like, scary looking. This would be like that scary house.
You could see kids making...
Oh, yeah, some might know the lore of what actually happened there, but then it just goes, like, it's spun out of control.
Yeah, now it's spun out of control.
Right.
Laurie's like, well, I'm going to leave the key under the mat. So she walks up to the door, leaves the key under the mat, and we get a shot from the inside of the house, and it's that first, like, dun, like, there he is.
And
he's on
like,
the other
he looks
side.
out of the window.
Shape,
it's so creepy.
Yep.
You get a chill.
And Lonnie told him, never go to that house. Something terrible happened there. They don't know what, but something terrible happened there.
Right. Well, I would assume the parents don't tell.
Yeah, probably not. And Laurie's like, Lonnie's an idiot.
Which is probably fair.
Yeah, when we see Lonnie later,
he's a bully.
When you see Lonnie in Halloween Kills, because they brought him back for some reason, he's
much worse.
Yeah. So Michael is just hanging out in this house. I think he would have ended up having some bloodlust, but part of me thinks he just kind of wants to chill in this house. I think that was his end game.
He's getting away, And he's going back to what he knows.
Yeah,
Right.
was the house. So Loomis was right. Like, we just have to go to the house.
Go home. He
Because
went
he's
home.
going to go to this house. He doesn't know what... To your point, he doesn't know where else to go.
No.
He was a 6-year-old kid
Right.
when he went in. So that's kind of all he knows.
Yeah, so he went home. He went back to his neighborhood. He went back to his house.
I do want to know, did he stop at like a gas station to pick up a map?
They might have had a map in the car.
Oh,
I did
that's
think about that
possible.
too,
That's
because like
possible.
it's the 70s, so you're gonna have a map in your
Oh,
car.
I have to put my GPS in to get back to Haddonfield.
But he may have had to stop at a gas station for gas and stuff.
I never learned how to pump this. Can you please pump my gas?
He's not gonna say anything.
I know! And he was 150 miles away, so maybe he
My
did have to
assumption
fill up
is that
tank.
he would just pull up, it would do the ding ding, and then they'd put the gas in and he just
The
drives
ding
away.
ding.
Well, you know what I mean? Like the old school,
I
like
know
you
what you
drive up and
meant.
it goes ding ding,
Yeah.
and then they come out, they pump the gas, they expect you to pay, and then you don't.
Yeah.
And he just drives away.
He
That's
just
what
drives away.
That's what I kind of imagine.
Or, as we learn later, he killed a auto mechanic to steal his jumpsuit. So, he just... Now I just
he could've
picture
gotten
him
the map there,
on the
too.
side of the road siphoning gas out of his car.
Yeah, that could've
I
been-
saw this in a movie that they showed us at the...
He might have had gas in the back of the car if he was like a mechanic and stuff.
That's true, too.
So he could have stolen gas.
They covered all their bases,
They really
people.
did. So they that's where he got the outfit, the map, and the gas for the car. It's perfect.
He lucked into a lot
Very
of this.
astute.
Yes, very astute. So Lori is walking away from the house, singing a tune to herself as she walks to the high school.
It's like a made up song. Like,
Yeah,
you just kind of
and we get the shape. We get
He
the
came
shape
out of the
comes
house.
into frame. Yeah, and I like the idea. Deborah Hill says this, and they run with it in the sequels. But Deborah Hill says he makes the connection between Judith, his sister, and Lori.
Oh, because she kind of would look like her, right?
Because she kind of looks like her. It's like the same age, and it's the first person to approach his house.
Right.
So now he's obsessed.
he kind of gets like a
Yeah. He
a
wants-
strong
he's gotta
connection
kill
to her.
And for that matter, he thinks
Do you think it was I have to kill her immediately because, or do you think
likes
he just
to-
has like an
he
obsession?
likes to stalk.
I think he's just stalking
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah, he wants to stalk her. And
It's just creepy.
and Tommy could remind him of himself.
Right. Which is what I kept thinking, was that he sees a child
Yeah.
and he sees the babysitter or the older sister type character.
Because they get the age wrong all the time. I think he was supposed to be 6 years old, so he's supposed to be 21 here. But if Tommy is 11 and it was 15 years, then it would be 26. So if he was 11 when he killed Judith,
Right.
and I think in the credits they say he's 23. They say he's 26.
say he's
They
23,
say he's 21.
and like the kid was 6 and like
Yeah,
15
so he's-
years.
yeah,
None of that
so
makes
they don't get any of
sense.
that right. John Carpenter don't give a shit.
Doesn't
He's
matter.
just trying.
There's a child. There's an adult. It's
Yeah.
the same person.
Yeah. So anyway, Loomis, we go back to Smith's Grove, and he's pissed off. He's lamenting the fact that he told everyone. I told everyone that he could get out. He wants better security. I'm sure I popped the mic. He wants better security, and no one listened. And this other guy with him is telling him, we learn who he is in one of the sequels. He's telling him that, well, I mean, there's no way he would have made it back. He's 150 miles away from here. He can't drive a car. And Loomis is like, he did very well last night. Maybe somebody around here gave him lessons.
He's such an angry man. I mean, understandably, but still, he's such an angry man. High blood
Okay.
pressure. Must
All
have.
right, Dr. Loomis is the worst child psychologist ever.
Yeah. Do you think he has other patients, or is he just obsessed with Michael?
I would hope so. I spent 15 years with only one patient. I sat in a room with him for 15 years and he never said anything. I hope he talked to some other child in that time.
I mean, he probably did. You're right. But I mean, it feels like he's just so obsessed.
It's my Wednesday afternoon. It's time to go talk to Michael again. I stare at evil for 4 hours every week, Sheriff. He doesn't go, all right.
I mean, it probably is a weekly talk to Michael, though. That probably
Yes.
is true. Weekly talk to Michael
While
for
he says nothing back to
15
him.
years.
Yes. Yes. I will say...
Which he probably talks to other kids who are probably catatonic as well.
Yes, but they
so,
don't
I
look
mean,
evil.
They probably aren't completely, just...
He spent 7 years trying to break through to him.
And then he gave up.
And then he gave up. One of the things, we'll do the Rob Zombie version one day. I don't mind seeing the little chats between Michael and Dr.
No, it was
Loomis
fine. I
in
hate
those.
Michael. No
Yes,
offense
I
to
do
that
too.
actor.
I do too. I like little kid Michael in this because he looks like just a regular.
He just
little
looks
kid.
like a kid.
Michael in that Rob Zombie movie looks like fucking Eric Cartman
Yeah.
mixed with a kid that we grew up with.
We always thought that. We all said that.
We all said it like the second we saw it, yeah. Where were we? Okay, Loomis doesn't get to go totally off the rails. Donald Pleasance doesn't get to go totally crazy like he does in every sequel. He's a little more composed when he makes it to Haddonfield than he is in any of the other movies.
Well, because in this one, it's when it first happens.
Yes. But he goes crazy and he's pissed at the Smiths.
Oh my god, of course he is. They lost a patient. The patient got out, let a bunch of patients out, and
he
got
did
away.
some sort of damage at Smith Grove.
What the hell happened there? I want to know that.
Yeah, you never learn what he did there.
Is anybody dead there?
Yeah,
I would assume.
Did he attack anybody there?
Yeah.
Did he just figure out a way to sneak out?
Did he unlock stuff? Did he lock them in?
Yeah, what did he do? It's all good.
Cause a distraction?
It's all good questions. And you will find out in the Rob Zombie version of the...
But it's not. It's
no,
not.
that
Carpenter's.
movie takes place in the Ultimate Universe.
That's a different universe.
An entirely alternate universe.
I want to know Carpenter's.
Yes. But it doesn't enhance anything. It's just curious.
But I like having those little odd little snippet details.
You know too much might ruin it if you know whatever.
Sure, I know, but still.
Laurie is in class, and they're learning about fate. I didn't look up what they were learning about, like who was the author or whatever. It could be fake. I don't have a clue. But the teacher is prattling on about the way that fate works in their lives. I was a bit surprised that Laurie is sitting all the way in the back. I thought that she would have been in the front.
I feel like she would be a front student, but she might be one of those students that gets put to the back to make the other students in the back.
Oh, come on, Miss Collins. I don't want to go sit in the back. That's my Jamie Lee Curtis.
But she's like, I need you to go sit in the back because like Billy and Ted are like bad kids.
I'm trying to get it down. Oh, come on, Miss Collins. Don't make me go sit in the back. Jamie Lee Curtis has a very distinct voice. I can't do it.
She does have a deeper voice.
You might be able to do
I
it.
might be able
You might
to
be
do
able
her
to pull it off.
voice.
Yeah.
Because I kind of have a
can
bit
probably
more
do it,
of
Jamie.
that voice.
Yeah.
So if I kind of just go, oh, come on. Oh, what was the question? Like earth, air, fire, water.
Yeah. Shut up.
Shut up.
Yeah, there it is. You got it. So, Laurie...
She lightens her voice later. Like, later in her years. She ups her voice a little bit. Yeah.
Thinking of her in Freaky
I think she
Friday.
brings it up an octave a little bit. I
Interesting.
think with confidence, it might be more so because of confidence.
They say she was very unconfident.
Yeah,
That
she was
Deborah
probably
Hill
very
thought that she didn't have a
self-conscious.
lot of confidence.
Yeah.
And John Carpenter called her.
I think
apparently.
she even said, I did horrible. They were
She
gonna
thought she
fire
did
me.
horrible. They were going to fire her, and then she got a call from John Carpenter, and he was like, "That was great. Thanks. See you tomorrow." like he just wanted to call and like thank her for like the first day of shooting, and she was like, "No director before or after ever did that." That's just John Carpenter.
I want this man. So like,
Protect
I
John
want
Carpenter.
more of this man.
Now he just does film scores. Some of my favorite stuff. Anyway, I think he does concerts. I wonder if he ever comes like.
We should
to
see.
town.
That would be really fun.
Where am I? Oh,
They were talking about Samuel.
they're talking
and
about fate, and Laurie is daydreaming because she's like, she's smart. She knows this stuff, and she looks out the window.
Oh, I hate this.
This is fantastic.
I mean, I love it,
So Michael
but
has
I hate it.
gotten in the car,
Yeah.
followed her to school, somehow figured out which classroom
No,
she's
I don't
in.
know. Do you think that he knows which classroom she's in?
or he's just kind of staring
He's just
at the building.
staring at the building because he knows that she's in there.
She's in there. Yeah, that's fair.
and it
That's
feels
fair, yeah.
and it feels
She
like
just
he's
happened to
staring
be able
at
to,
her.
yes.
Yeah.
But he's just standing there behind the car.
It's
and we get the
creepy.
first look of the shape.
Yes. From afar. But yeah.
Yeah, but the blank white mask, that is the shape. I think the story of the mask is pretty legendary.
Yeah.
I'll tell it because we're Shelf Life.
Of course.
And we're thorough. And folks at home, you expect us to do that because we are the only source of everything that we cover.
Plus, there might be some of you who don't know the story.
There could be some that don't know the story as well. There might be people that obsess over this shit like we do. So, Tommy Lee Wallace was a friend of John Carpenter. Nancy Loomis, who plays Annie, is married to him, just for shits and gigs on that one. But he was the production designer, and John told him, go find some masks that we can use. And in the script, it said it was a blank face, which John said he doesn't know where he got that from, but he thinks it might have been it was a French movie called The Girl Without a Face. I can't remember the name. But they showed it in the documentary where it's like, it looks kind of like that. It's an emotionless blank face.
Right.
Tommy comes back with a clown mask.
Right.
And a Captain Kirk mask. But the Captain Kirk mask looks nothing like Captain Kirk.
Oh, it's creepy. It's already creepy.
Yes.
Before he does anything to it.
Yes.
The eye holes are like too big. The face is like melted looking.
Which is just how William Shatner looks. So Tommy Lee Wallace decided, well, I'm going to spruce up this Captain Kirk mask. So he made the eye holes bigger. Mm-hmm. He took the eyebrows off. He painted it white.
Right.
He fluffed up the hair and dyed the hair.
Yep.
And they said the second they saw it, they were like, that is terrifying.
Yeah, they put on the mask and it was like, that's creepier than I even thought.
Because you can't see the eyes.
Right.
It's just, there's nothing there. You
it's
can't
just
see you can't see his eyes.
Right.
Which is, it's great. It's perfect for this because it's supposed to be just this devil's eyes. That is the shape. And when Laurie looks back after answering the question from the teacher, the car's gone. He's moved on.
Yep.
Which
makes her think, did I
see that?
Did I see that?
Is that real? Yeah. Kids are bullying Tommy. Tommy is walking around with the biggest fucking pumpkin you've ever seen. And they're telling him that he's going to get you, Tommy. He's going to get... Come on, Rachel, join in. He's going to get you, Tommy. He's going to get you. The boogeyman's coming. The boogeyman. They're telling him that the boogeyman it comes and attacks kids during Halloween.
Which, I mean, sure. The boogeyman is always a scary thing.
I like Tommy's answer, though. Because they're like, you know what happens on Halloween? He's like, yeah, we get candy.
Which is correct.
Yes. Folks at home, kids at home, get your parents' permission to listen to Shelf Life, especially Halloween.
This is too bad. Why are you listening?
But yes, the only thing that happens to you on Halloween is you get candy.
Yes.
Yeah. I assume.
I mean...
Unless there's
someone
behind you right now! That I popped the microphone. I had to.
Who's that?
On the way out, Tommy drops the pumpkin. He breaks his... I broke my pumpkin.
Which is sad, because
kind of
that was one of the 3
moment.
pumpkins that they had.
Yeah, they only had 3 pumpkins, as we learned. Lonnie runs into Michael. Runs into the shape.
Yes, he runs into him. The guy, like, the shape grabs, like steadies him.
Yes. I cannot imagine, and they talk about this in Halloween Kills, but, like, can you imagine just running in as a kid to, like, you look up and, like, there he is. There's evil.
That's the boogeyman.
Yeah, there's the boogeyman.
You just ran into the I think that's why he just has, like, turns and runs.
Yeah,
like,
turns and runs.
Like, I'm not even acknowledging the fact that this just happened, because that's gotta be scary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's weird, too, to me that, like, nobody, like, she sees him, but, like, nobody really sees him. Somehow he is in the shadows of this entire movie. Because, like, I'm wondering if other people are seeing him and just going, oh, yeah, it's a guy in a costume.
It's Halloween. Yeah.
Or if they find him creepy.
I don't know if I were to... I guess it depends on what he's doing. If he's just kind of standing there, he's just walking, you're probably not going to think too much of it.
Yeah.
If he's standing there and not moving,
That's
you
creepy.
might.
Yeah.
I guess it just kind of depends.
But yeah, he studies this kid and he runs off. Like, he's like, I don't care.
Michael...
I think at this point he's just observing.
Yeah. Michael starts watching Tommy, and the score kicks in, and we see him get back in the car, and he just kind of follows Tommy around.
Slowly.
Yeah.
How does he not notice? I mean, I guess he's kind of far away, but...
It's a bit unsettling.
I
'cause
don't know.
he's
I
just
feel like I'm way
stalking
too
Tommy,
aware
too.
of my surroundings sometimes. I'm just like, how does he not notice
Yeah,
this car?
I'm a little surprised that Tommy didn't notice. I guess he did it just long enough.
Yeah.
To notice, because he does it like really slowly
Right.
past him, and the camera's great too because it's in the back seat. You're
Behind like
behind
the wire.
shape. Yeah. And you kind of pan over. You're kind of seeing what like Michael is doing too at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it is. Yeah.
I do have a question.
Okay.
Does he have the window down all the time because it's like shattered, or does it? Did he like just break the window so that it's like
Yeah,
not
he
there
probably
anymore?
he probably just put
Because
the
like
window
you don't
out.
see that. It's not.
All right, Cinema Sins over there.
Just saying.
So it's all a bit unsettling. Loomis stops at a phone booth because he's trying to warn the sheriff of Haddonfield that Michael's coming.
And if any of you don't understand why he stops and talks in a phone booth, it's because he doesn't have a cell phone because this is the 70s.
I feel like kids are smart enough to
Just in case,
understand that.
just in case, where it's like, wait, like why is he stopping?
What's this thing? Why is there a sphere connected to
Alright,
it?
fine, if you don't think they need to know.
No,
okay.
I'm sure the idea of a phone booth
The
is
idea of
probably
having
comical to
like
some.
think about it though, like the idea of having to stop your car, find a phone, pay for it to call somebody.
Sure.
There's a lot to that.
Yeah, you had to really make
You're
an
not
effort.
connected.
Yeah, you had to really make an effort.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, because he was trying to
Well, he
warn
had to.
the police that a murderer is
It's coming back to town.
He really sells it as, like, everyone in town is in danger. Because
Which is
this guy's
true,
coming
because
back.
he doesn't know who
Yeah, he doesn't know
actually-
what his goal is.
what is capable
He
of.
just knows that he wants to go back to his town.
Right.
He sees a truck abandoned on the side of the road.
And we've talked about this already, but...
Yeah, just so happens to be there. Michael killed some random auto mechanic, stole the jumpsuit. That's why he has the jumpsuit the rest
And that's
of the
why there's like the gown, the hospital gown is
Yeah,
I
the
guess,
hospital
like just
gown
hanging
is
in
there. He puts two and two together because the hospital gown is there. The
And
matchbook.
the matchbook.
That Marion was using
Yep.
is there.
He doesn't find the body, but we get to see it.
Yes, we get to see it. He doesn't see it. So Michael's kill count is 2, I guess, in this movie at this point. Because his sister now.
Oh yeah, that's
mechanic.
true. Right. As
We-
far as we know,
As far
it's
as
at
we know.
2.
We meet Linda. Linda played by PJ Souls from Carrie. So she had that. We totally meet Linda, by the way. She has a ton
Oh,
of stuff
totally.
too. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's totally in this and like the best friend and everything.
Did not realize that she was married to Randy Quaid.
Oh, that's funny.
And she was trying to get him to play Bob, but there was like a scheduling conflict. So that would have been great if Randy Quaid was in this too. Am I thinking of the right Randy? Dennis Quaid. Randy Quaid is the insane one. But I
that
think
would have been so weird if he was in this.
Yeah, it really would have been weird. Because, I mean, Dennis Quaid's in a bunch of stuff, and his kid's in a bunch of stuff.
Best known for me in Parent Trap.
Sure. I was about to say with Lindsay Lohan, who was in Freaky Friday with Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah.
The connection.
So anyway,
Well, I mean, young Dennis Quaid,
yeah.
he would fit.
Yeah. Looks kind of Bobbish.
Yeah.
They're
A little bit more handsome Bob. This is like
Yeah,
Bob
I think
and
Bob,
this is
Bob
nerdy,
needs to look a
nerdy
little
Bob.
skeevy. I think that this Bob
This is
works.
like
'cause
burnout Bob.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he needs to look a little skeevy. They're walking past these lockers. And Outdoor lockers in Illinois, even at the very, very bottom tip.
No.
Folks at home, if you live at the bottom tip of Illinois, something tells me that you're not having an outdoor locker.
No.
In the ass crack of January, you're not going outside to get your books.
Oh, I'm not using that locker ever. Are you kidding?
This is where we get a lot of the dialogue and what's the real,
totally.
the real important stuff of this
Yeah.
movie, which is talking about boys. And school.
Totally boys.
Lori has nothing to do, and they say, well, Linda says, like, well, that's your fault because you just don't want to ever do anything. And Annie shows up. She was late, but she shows up. Paul, her boyfriend,
Right.
is grounded.
Of course.
And she was
Because
going
he
to...
did something stupid.
Because he's an idiot. I love that they, like, refer to their boyfriends as, like, morons and
I
stuff.
mean,
Yeah,
that's,
I mean, they are.
you know what? Yeah.
It's very good dialogue. It's very good
feels
dialogue. It
natural,
feels natural.
actually. Yeah. Like, even her totally is, like,
Yes.
that feels normal.
Thank you, Deborah Hill. Rest in peace.
Yeah,
I mean, it's perfect.
She did a good job.
She was going to have Paul come over while babysitting, but because he's grounded, now she can't do that. And as they talk, a car passes by. And I'm guessing Laurie sort of recognizes it from when she saw
him out the window.
Yeah. They see that Laurie's, like, staring at it, and they kind of... I mean, you can see the shape mask in the window, and he's, like, looking back, and he starts speeding off. Annie shouts at him, because Annie is strong, like a strong-willed woman.
Yeah, she's definitely
She's
strong-willed.
a little strong-willed.
Oh, yeah, which isn't, like, a bad thing, but at the same time...
No, but, like, I mean, she is.
Yes.
They
even say you're gonna get us killed or hurt or something one day.
Michael being a psycho... Stop, like,
you don't yell at a psycho.
Nails the brakes.
Oh my god, and just stops. And I bet he turns back and, like, stares at them for a second.
And thought about what? Just, like...
I don't know.
You think
that someone actually yelled at him.
You think it was, like, an intimidation thing, or you think he was just surprised that someone...
Surprised.
Okay. I thought maybe, like, you were thinking, like, he was thinking about, I'm just gonna kill him now. They pissed me off. Like,
no, I think it might have been...
Now they've all pissed me off. They came up to my house.
Because I don't think anybody else has acknowledged him except for, like, any doctors that he has
I guess
for 15
so, because, like,
years.
even Lonnie just walks
away. Like, he doesn't exist. Like, he's a ghost.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He acts like he's just a ghost walking through the town.
I've read articles or even, like, reviews, even from that time, that have said, like, oh, all these slasher movies, they like demean women and stuff. Even Linda, to an extent, I mean, she's, like, ditzy, but all three of them are pretty strong characters.
Yeah.
They're all pretty distinct and everything.
Yeah,
I mean, they're
think so.
goofy teenagers, but they're ditzy teenagers.
Yeah, but that's what a teenager
That's what they are.
Yeah.
Laurie says to Annie that she's gonna get us all killed someday.
Or, like, deep trouble, or I think is the words, but...
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
Linda says she hates a guy with a car and no sense of humor. And they make plans to babysit together while Linda gets to hang out with Bob. Because Linda's not babysitting.
No. I don't think Linda would be a babysitter.
I could see her being a babysitter, but she's a bad babysitter.
Yeah,
like, you're eating a fucking gallon of ice cream when Linda's
like,
babysitting.
here's the pizza.
Yeah.
Go sit in the other room.
I'm gonna go screw Bob.
Right.
Yeah. Linda takes off, so it's just Laurie and Annie. And Laurie thinks that she sees the shape behind a bush. And Annie, being
Which,
Annie...
he's barely behind the bush at first.
Yeah,
and then he just walks back behind it.
Yeah.
Like, you're not being subtle, Michael.
It feels like it should be that Homer meme where he walks into the
Yeah,
bushes.
he pretty much just, like, shivers back into the bushes and disappears.
Annie wants to confront this guy because she's like, well, if this is this creep, I'm, like, not going to let him be creepy.
Which, yeah, very strong-willed individual.
There's no one there, so Annie teases Laurie because there was no one there. There's a puff of smoke from John Carpenter's cigarette that comes out.
Really?
Yeah, I've learned that, I think, from, like, Red Letter Media or somewhere. Like, there's this little puff of smoke. I'll point it out to you. It's a good scene because Laurie thinks she saw him, and there's, you know, this eerie presence that just keeps kind of stalking her, but she can't quite tell what it is. And Annie says that Laurie must have a small stash from babysitting. And this is where we get a little of, like, Laurie's character. Because she says, like, guys think I'm too smart. And she's like, I think you're nuts. Because she keeps seeing this guy.
Right.
Annie goes home and Laurie runs into Annie's dad at this point. Which is all obviously a famous moment right here. So, excuse me, Laurie. We meet Sheriff Brackett, Annie's dad. His famous line, you know, it's Halloween. Everyone's entitled to one good scare.
Excuse me,
Oh,
Laurie.
Mr. Brackett, I'm sorry, Mr. Brackett.
Oh, I didn't mean to startle you.
That's all right.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
Yes, sir. Nice seeing you, sir.
Which
It's very famous to me.
I mean, it's famous to us because we listen to a podcast that uses that clip all the time.
It's great, though.
It seems too sunny for Illinois Halloween, doesn't it? It's, like, very sunny to me.
I don't think that's a problem. I think it's too warm.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's too warm.
I feel like it would
say.
be cooler and browner at this point.
After this scene where, like...
Maybe icy, could be snowy.
when Laurie walks away, it looks like it rained. Like, it
Oh,
shifts,
yeah.
and it kind of looks like it had rained.
I have a feeling it actually did
It must
rain
have
and I got
actually
screwed
rained
for a few minutes.
But again, it's like one of those things where it's like, who cares? Like, it's not that big
Yeah,
of a
big
deal.
deal.
It almost makes it more atmospheric because now it's like getting cloudier.
Yeah, cloudy and wet.
Yeah, and it's getting colder.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it actually kind of
And with the
works.
leaves, it does actually feel like fall now. So I feel like the rain helped them at that point.
Lori watches some kids trick-or-treating, and I guess she's just kind of like enjoying like that it's Halloween and she's seeing these kids trick-or-treat.
It is kind of fun to watch kids, you know, when they get excited to go trick-or-treating. And then I'll see all their costumes and...
I don't forget many trick-or-treaters just by the nature of like the neighborhood I'm in, but
Sure. We had a ton at our place.
Yeah.
We had a ton of trick-or-treaters. I think they like bust them in though. There's no way there's that many
they
kids
got
in my
the good
neighborhood.
candy. Hey, they got the good candy. We're going there this one. You gotta come. They got king size.
That's right. That's right.
Rachel brings out the good shit.
We had
Folks at home, if you want the good
buckets.
candy, you go to Rachel's. So Lori goes up to her room and she looks out the window and she thinks she sees the shape again, this time by a clothesline. A very, very famous shot.
It's
of the shape.
creepy. Like behind like sheets and stuff. He's just intertwined with all the laundry.
It's a great scene. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just sorting my whites out here.
It'd be funny if he just starts like trying
He's
to pretend.
slowly clipping.
He's just
it.
like trying to pretend that he's like.
I like the fact that he's so psycho that he can't do anything
Oh yeah,
but stare.
he's completely disconnected from social reality at all.
He can't do anything else.
Oh yeah.
The phone rings, and it is, I can't remember if it's Annie or Lori. I think it's Annie.
But it's silence.
Yeah, it's silence, and Lori freaks out, and she hangs up on her.
I mean, you just saw some guy looking at you through
Yeah.
a window. Of course you're gonna think that's him.
But how would he have known the number?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's creepy.
Even in today's day and age, it would have taken him a little bit of effort to figure out the number.
But I mean, you don't know that. You don't know he already could have had your number and now is stalking you, and he
That's
knows
true.
everything about
That's
you.
fair.
He
That's
knows where
fair.
you live.
That's fair.
Come on.
But it was Annie. She was eating something, so she was waiting to like swallow the food. And then Annie just says that she's gonna pick Lori up later.
Yep.
So we cut to later. Lori's changed. She's got the jack-o'-lantern that she promised Tommy they're going to babysit. It looks more fallish.
Oh yeah.
They're doing a good job of like throwing leaves at
Making it look
Jamie
super
Lee
windy,
Curtis.
yeah.
It looks windy. It looks like fall. More pan camera where we follow Lori again, leaving the Strode house. Her innocence is about to be destroyed. There's kids trick-or-treating everywhere, and she just kind of waits at the curb for Annie.
Right.
I think she just is enjoying the Halloween.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind. I can actually kind of like smell and feel that fall air, so I could see wanting just to sit outside and
version of the
see the
atmosphere.
costumes.
There are palm trees and some shots in the background.
Just ignore it.
Yeah, they do
I
a
can
decent
ignore it.
job of keeping it away. It should probably be dark at this point.
I would think it'd be a little darker.
It's like 6:30 or something. Annie says.
Yeah, I think she says 6, so I would think at that
should
point
be
it'd
dark.
be pretty dark.
Because I think daylight savings time for the younger listeners.
Oh yeah, for the future listeners, that doesn't even exist anymore.
that probably doesn't exist anymore. And for the younger listeners, they changed it to be March to November, and in some states don't even do it anymore.
Right.
But they changed it from like March to November, and for the international listeners,
Yeah, it's
the
different
United
for them.
States
It's
does.
off by a few weeks.
They do daylight savings times too internationally.
I think so.
Okay, well,
I think in some countries they might do it. I don't remember if that's
craziness.
true, but I feel like there is some changes in a couple other places too. Yeah.
it goes from November to March, but it used to go from October to April.
Oh
so,
yeah,
like,
so
it
it
would have definitely been dark.
Well, they would want it to be lighter.
No,
But
the kids might have gone trick or treating when it was lighter, but
Oh yeah, you're right. No, you're right.
it would have been dark by that point on the 31st of October.
I would think so.
I would have thought so.
Shorter
It
days.
is now.
Shorter days.
The next dialogue is one of my favorites, and I really,
Oh my God.
really want
This
to
is a
know
tease.
what the end of the story
It's
was.
such a tease.
So Dr. Loomis has gone to the graveyard of Judith Myers,
Yes.
and the groundskeeper or graveskeeper,
Yeah, groundskeeper.
yeah,
One of those.
starts telling this story.
Yeah, you know, every town has something like this happen. I remember over in Russellville, old Charlie Bowles, about 15 years ago. One night he finished dinner, and he excused himself from the table, and he went out to the garage. He got himself a hacksaw. And then he went back into the house, and he kissed his wife and his 2 children goodbye. And then he proceeded...
Where are we?
It's right over here.
I remember over in Russellville, old
And
Charlie
then it
Bowles.
just stops. Because Loomis cuts him off.
Yes!
Because I guess
Right at that point where you're going to find out what happened.
He doesn't want to hear it, but it's like, I've always
Yeah, he's
wanted to
busy.
know.
He's got a different story going
I've always
on.
wanted to know what the end of that story is. What did he do?
Do you think they
Folks,
had
tell
it?
him what happened.
Do you think there was an ending to that story?
No, I don't think, did John Carpenter and Deborah Hill write an ending? Is that your question?
Yeah, like, did they
No.
write a whole story? Because I want to know the damn story.
They didn't write a story.
Darn it. Is it in the book? Could it be in the book?
Maybe it's... You're
I
gonna
have to read this book now.
Why don't go email John Carpenter? I'm sure he'll tell you, like, I don't know.
Do you think he
killed
would?
his
Can I
family.
tweet? Do you think he tweets?
No,
I
do
bet
not
he
think
doesn't.
tweets.
I bet he doesn't.
And I think he hates getting those kind of questions.
I bet he doesn't. Oh, you think he? Oh, he probably does.
Yeah, I don't think he likes getting those.
Can I just give him like a thumbs up?
Sure, you can give him a thumbs up.
Thank you for being you. Thank you for the movies.
Yeah.
And that's it.
So,
I appreciate it.
So anyway, Judith Meyer's headstone is missing.
Yes.
And so Dr. Loomis knows he came home. He's here. He's in Haddonfield.
Yeah, there's no way that's a coincidence. No way. Well,
no, there's
okay.
no way. There is no way that's a coincidence. Are you serious right now?
I'm just thinking about.
All right, forget what we know. You're trying to tell me.
No, look. I'm just thinking of asshole teenagers playing some sort
That's
of
what the
stupid ass
groundskeeper
prank
thinks.
because they know the story of Michael Myers and they took the gravestone.
And it's just a coincidence that Michael just happened to get loose on the same night.
It's Halloween.
Everyone's entitled to one good scare.
That's right.
You're insane.
It's just a thought. It's not what I actually think, but I'm just saying. I'm putting it out there.
I will not sanction
Putting
this
it out there.
buffoonery. Cannot sanction.
It is now in the podcast. You can't take it away.
Kevin, cut that out. So anyway.
Don't cut that out.
I'm that.
Keep it in.
Lori doesn't take the joint very well in the car. Annie is smoking weed and
Like it's
Lori,
normal.
Lori joins in. She's not as good at it, but they're still like sharing a joint in the car. They don't notice that the shape is trailing them in his car. And I guess you wouldn't notice because they're talking about boys and stuff. They're like just talking about like
Yeah,
their
they're kind
normal
of
thing.
like shooting the breeze, just kind of relaxing in the car. I feel like her smoking though would make her more paranoid. She's already feeling paranoid.
Lori?
Yeah,
I guess.
she's already feeling paranoid about seeing this guy, and then the phone call scared her, and then and now you're
Or-
smoking weed.
Or it makes her more relaxed. We don't know.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Yeah, I get your point. Though. Sheriff Brackett's car is in front of the hardware store, so they pull up and they have to dump their weed and stuff. But Annie's dad...
there's no way he doesn't smell this.
No way he doesn't smell this. So Annie's dad comes out and is like, well, the store was robbed. Somebody took a Halloween mask, which must be the shape, mask,
Right.
rope, and a couple of knives. So who else would have done it? Some damn teenagers. Which, I mean, he's close. He's 21. So it's
Yeah,
close.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Young adult.
There is no way that he doesn't smell this weed.
No.
Because you can smell it a mile away.
It's so strong and so gross. There's no way.
They drive off, and as they drive off, Dr. Loomis pulls up. And Dr. Loomis tells the sheriff that he really needs to talk to him. And he's like, okay, fine. And as Dr. Loomis is waiting for him, Michael drives behind him. I love this little missed connection that we have of Michael being like, shit, it's Loomis.
Yeah.
And having to like drive past him and be
Yes.
discreet about it. And that Mr. Loomis. And
Mr.
That
Loomis.
And that Dr. Loomis missed him like right behind
Oh
him.
my god, yeah.
I feel like Sam Loomis is really trying to keep it together too, because he's like, I'm gonna spaz. He's
He
like,
does look like he's gonna freak out at any moment.
Lori wants to be kind of normal. She wants to ask somebody to the dance, and he's like, all you do is you go up to somebody and you're like, hey, go to the dance.
They are very powerful women. It is the 70s, so I could see
Yeah.
that happening.
I'd love if a girl told me, if just came up to me and asked. That'd be great. But I get it. Yeah, it's like, it's definitely an
Social
atypical-
norms
it's atypical
thing,
now, I would
yeah.
assume. I don't know what you kids are doing.
What are you guys doing nowadays?
What are you kids up to? So anyway, Annie could,
Ben
but she
Tramer.
can't. And she just says, like, oh, I could ask so-and-so to go to the dance with you. And Lori goes, I'd rather go with Ben.
I'd rather go with Ben Tramer.
Ben Tramer?
It's so cute. I don't know why, but it feels like a real conversation. I could see this actually happening.
Yeah, it's very
Because
real.
you just revealed your crush, so your friends are gonna be like, oh my god.
Ben Tramer, whose fate is sealed by this second
That's
movie.
it. Oh yeah.
I can't remember the name of Will Patton's character in these David Gordon Green movies. It should just be Ben Tramer. We'll get to it someday. But that should just be Ben Tramer.
Honestly, that would be that could be.
I want Ben Tramer to get a happy ending. He doesn't in one of these timelines.
He doesn't.
The motherfucker gets... Spoiler alert for Halloween 2. He gets got in that movie. But she has a little crush. And this is one of my favorite delivery lines. Delivery lines? This is one of my favorite deliveries by Laurie Strode / Jamie Lee Curtis of, shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up. It is suddenly dark. The sun sets
Which, you know what?
rapidly in Haddonfield.
You know what? That's true, though. The second golden hour hits, that sun goes down so fast.
All right, fine. I'll let you,
I don't know if you've ever walked when it's like
I'll let you take it.
when it's sunset, but man, it just darkness.
He watches Laurie go in the house. The Shape does. We see the parents leave via his point of view to Annie and Lindsay. So he's made up his mind. I guess because Annie yelled at him. He's killing Annie first.
Maybe.
Do
you think that's what it is?
Yes, I think that's what it is. I think he's pissed off at this girl. He's like, she's got to go.
She's acknowledged me. I must kill.
Loomis shows up at the Myers house, and him and Sheriff Brackett do a little bit of investigation. This is where we find out Michael's favorite cuisine.
Is it his favorite cuisine?
I think so. It's that or rats. So, as we watched this the other night, Rachel asked, what does he eat?
I forgot about
very
this.
minute.
Okay, look, I forgot that this happened. So I was thinking, like, maybe he walked in and, like, stole stuff because he stole the
She
mask
asked,
and
like,
everything.
did he just take candy bars?
Yeah, I kept thinking, like, maybe he's just stealing candy bars and putting them in his pocket, you know?
But we find out that he enjoys dog.
Which is so sad. I'm so glad they don't show it.
Yeah.
Because that would be awful.
Well, they couldn't afford it, is my guess.
And no gore.
Yeah, and no gore.
Which is, you know what? I'm glad. Because
but it's all in your
picturing
mind.
it, thinking about it,
that he ate
horrible.
a dog.
And why did he think a skunk would do it? The guy says a skunk.
Because Brackett is trying to be skeptical of, like...
But a skunk? I'm thinking like a coyote or something.
I could see a skunk doing it.
I mean, like,
skunks can be pretty
Yeah,
nasty.
but I'm thinking like sprayed and then like... I guess if it gets that close, the claws are sharp.
Could have been a coyote.
Well, that's what I just said.
I thought you said a, Oh, maybe you did say coyote. I don't know what I thought you said. Anyway, this is
But
where
he
we
got
get...
hungry.
This is where
Now
we
I
get
will
good
eat
stuff,
dog.
Good stuff from Loomis, because Brackett's like, no man would do that. And Loomis says, this is not a man.
He is no man.
This is all his evil stuff. So this is where we get all evil this and evil that. Loomis is just evil, evil, evil.
Yeah, he is hellbent on this, that this guy is like possessed.
I teach a class at the local community college on evil.
He's just a demon at this point, right?
And Loomis retells the story, because I don't know if he's ever been to the Myers house. I assume as his psychologist, he went there to see the scene of crime.
Or he saw like the crime scene pictures and stuff too.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I have a feeling.
But he tells Brackett the story of what happened, because I would assume Brackett knows, but maybe not. I mean, he could be from out of town. He would have been young.
Yeah, or he knows the story, but he's never been in the house.
Sure, that too. Glass breaks, because something, like there's like a gutter hanging.
Oh, yeah, it's gotta be the gutter.
Yeah, I think it's the
looks
gutter.
real weird. Like something is like attached to like a
to
board.
break the glass. I think it's like the wrench.
But yeah, the gutter makes sense, yeah.
It's all to establish that Loomis has a gun.
And he's
jumpy. But he shows
understandably
he shows
jumpy.
Brackett the permit though, which I think is funny.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. He immediately goes, "Look, I have a permit, okay?"
And Loomis starts going into evil, and this is where we get the blackest eye speech.
I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding, and even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, of good or evil, right or wrong. I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up, because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
Loomis thinks he will come back and they're going to wait for him. So Loomis is like, I'm going to wait for him here. I'm going to wait for him at this house. Because he doesn't think he thinks, well, he ate here, he'll come back. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, this is like his home
base.
base.
Is his base, yeah. And Brackett's like, well, okay, I'll put out like an APB. Like, I get it. Like, he's here. And Loomis says, don't do that. Which is totally contradictory to everything he does in every sequel that exists.
Well, I think that's on purpose.
He does it on purpose. You mean the difference?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think
he rectifies his mistake.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fair. Because his point is like, no, you're going to see sightings all over of him. We're going to have to be chasing down wild gooses. It's not going to be productive. We just have to wait for him. But at the same time, he's talking about how everyone in town is in fucking danger. So
and people do get killed, and I think he regrets that.
So wouldn't you be like, tell the town to put out a curfew?
Yeah.
But don't tell them why. Just say, there's a situation, we need to put out a curfew. Mm-hmm. At the very least, that might be a good idea.
I mean, they've done that before, where they at least announce the fact that there's an escaped convict, who has murdered people. So just to be careful and lock everything. Yeah. And I've heard of those before. Yeah. I have heard those before, yeah. And I even think I've gotten that message before.
And you're told, stay
which
inside.
Is horrifying. But usually it's like, well, they're not going to come here.
Yeah.
They're getting the hell out of here.
Yeah, they're trying to get out of here. They're not going to camp out.
Unlike Michael.
Who wants to camp out. Yeah.
Right.
Lori is reading Tommy King Arthur, and Tommy wants to read comic books instead. And Tommy asks Lori, what's the boogeyman? Because of what they were telling him the boogeyman's going to go.
Right.
Before Lori can answer, Annie calls her. And Lester, the
German Shepherd.
The Wallace's German Shepherd,
yes,
is barking incessantly.
At the door.
Or at the window. I can't remember what.
I don't know. Wherever she's at, there's like a window door thing there.
Lester walks in this scene and scared Rachel. Because
the door opens,
like
it opens slowly.
Because of Lester, the German Shepherd.
They did that on purpose.
Oh, absolutely. We find out, though, that the shape is outside. And as per usual in horror movies, dogs can sense evil. So Lester is barking at Mike Myers.
It's true in life, too.
For those that do like Halloween trivia, what's the name of the Wallace's German Shepherd? I think would be a really good trivia.
Oh, yeah, question. I like that. Yeah.
Lester.
I
love that Lindsay is just addicted to TV. She
yes.
just sits there watching TV constantly.
She is attached to it.
Lindsay, played by Kyle Richards, who ends up being a real housewife and is in the David Gordon Green movies as well.
Interesting.
She's going to the homecoming dance, we find out, with Ben Tramer now, because Annie asked for Lori, asked Ben Tramer. And
that's right.
Lori's upset about this because she's like, oh, no, you didn't. Come on.
Well, because that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
They talk about it while Tommy looks outside and sees the shape just standing there.
In the light, so he's just a shadow. Oh, it was creepy.
By the time that Tommy gets Lori to look outside, he's gone. Which you would think that Lori's a little bit more on edge because she's seen stuff too. But
yeah, but I think at the same time, one, she's babysitting, and it's a kid, so she's already on the, no, you're not seeing things.
Yeah,
you're
she's
just a
gotta
kid.
Be the strong, yeah.
Right? And it's Halloween, so she's like, if you're seeing something, it's just a person on Halloween.
Yeah, it's just somebody in a costume. Annie stains something on her. I think we find out it's butter.
It's butter.
But
she's making popcorn
this everywhere.
Oh my God.
She takes off her shirt. She takes off her pants. She is standing there in nothing but
just underwear.
Not even a bra.
Yeah, I don't think she was wearing one. It's the 70s.
It's the 70s. Let those puppies
free. She's a strong woman.
That's right.
Free the boob.
Yeah. Absolutely. Women at home, I'm all for it, for the most part. Unless you need some support, then
Yeah,
do
sometimes
you.
it's actually, like, nice.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need it.
Yeah. I understand.
Hold it up for me. I don't want to do it.
I'm not going to
Hurt
free
my
ball
back,
anywhere because you need a little support sometimes.
Right.
Michael clumsily breaks a flower pot.
And freaks out over it.
And freaks out.
He's like,
an
oh, God.
idiot. He's like, I'm sorry, I haven't done this in a long time.
And he, like, walks away quickly.
So Michael is, he's all hot and bothered now because Annie's standing there with nothing but t-shirt on.
Do you think?
No, I don't think he has any...
I don't think he cares. I think it reminds him of his sister, though.
Yes, I think it does remind him of his sister.
Yeah.
And Lester confronts the shape because he just goes outside and he's like, I gotta take care of this. And Michael takes care of the dog.
Which is very sad. No dogs were harmed in the making of this
Lester
movie.
is barking again and annoying me again. Oh, never mind. That is Annie's reaction.
That is her reaction. He, like, squeals as if something got hurt, like he got hurt.
Yeah, like, yeah.
And
her
she
reaction.
goes, never mind. Like, what's wrong with you?
They're watching the old 50s Thing, which comes into play, ironically, because then John Carpenter remakes The Thing. Obviously, he likes the Thing. There's no such thing as the boogeyman, is Laurie's message to Tommy, because Tommy keeps asking, what's the boogeyman?
Right.
And Laurie explains that it's Halloween, people play tricks on each other, and she tells Tommy that she's his babysitter. She's not going to let anything happen to her.
Right. And the bullies will make stuff up, and they're stupid.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Laurie, I think, just wanted to sit there and watch The Thing, or just kind of sit there and watch TV because it's the easiest thing to do for babysitting.
Well, they're gonna watch a movie. They're gonna carve a jack-o'-lantern.
I was thinking,
and candy.
I'm thinking that Laurie was hoping that he was gonna get tired watching the movie.
Do you really think? I don't think she's that kind of a babysitter.
I don't think Laurie's that kind of babysitter, but
she's not. I think she's okay with all the activities because he like
movie,
loves having her there.
Yeah, but I think he was like after the movie, after this, after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the David Gordon Green ones, I like the dynamic between the little kid and the babysitter that's Allison's friend in that one too. They have a similar dynamic as Laurie and Tommy.
That's
now that
true.
I'm thinking about it. Like they're more smart ass to each other
in the new ones.
But that's just because
because they're more of like sibling-ish.
Yeah, they do act more like big sister, little brother. Mm-hmm. But it is similar where it's like she's like, you're my favorite little kid that I babysit, and it's the same.
Right.
It's a cuter dynamic than people give it credit for, I think.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same here, where it's like they understand each other.
Right. He needs I think he needs somebody. Like he does get bullied in school and stuff.
Yeah.
And so he has Laurie, and I think he looks at her like a big sister almost.
So
which is really cute.
I think Laurie realizing that Tommy is scared is like, why don't we go to the jack-o'-lantern now? Like, that'll get your mind off things. Annie, because she's obviously stained herself everywhere and has to go to the, backwoods laundry house.
The outside laundry house.
I think it's like the Wallaces must have a little money.
Do you think?
I don't know.
This might actually be like normal, like having like a shed. This was
probably normal in the old houses
with a fridge and laundry.
Yeah, instead of like a garage, because I bet maybe they don't have a garage.
Maybe
so this is like the substitution for that, where they like keep the lawnmower and shit. Yeah, and they just have the laundry out there.
Oh, that could be it.
Because again, in Illinois, I don't think you want to be going outside and doing your laundry in January like this.
No,
it doesn't seem plausible.
No.
We know that the shape is watching from outside, though. We
We
see his shadow.
And how can he control this door?
It's not. It's the wind.
It's okay.
And I think that she either locks him. He either locks her in because he's planning to kill her,
right?
Or she accidentally locks herself in,
or he like wedges something in it,
or something like that. But she locks herself in. And she can't get out. It's very creepy. It's so well done. It's silent, but then sometimes there's a score. It's just the atmosphere is.
And then
very
sometimes he's there, and sometimes he's not, and sometimes there's just a shadow of him, and sometimes there's not.
Yeah,
and
You never know when he's gonna pop up.
No. Or he's like in the window at that one point too. Like she's trying to get her attention.
That's right here. Oh
yes.
Yeah. Oh my god.
She tries to like yell for what's her name?
Lindsay.
She's yelling for Lindsay to open the door, and she's not paying attention because she's watching a movie.
The thing or whatever.
And it shows like the reflection of or like through
Yeah,
the
you can
window
see it.
to the
It's like
other window
3 layers
inside.
deep. I kind of wonder
Ugh.
if that was only in theaters and on the 4K. Like, I bet on the old VHS tape you could barely see
But there's
him.
probably like a shadow thing or something.
Yeah.
You see the movement, so
Yeah.
you know he's there. Oh, it's creepy. It's like he's toying with her.
Yeah, well, because
He's
is.
theatrical.
He's thinking about what he wants to do. Lindsay picks up the phone and it's Paul. Lindsay says that Annie is washing her clothes. And she's like, hang on, I'll go get her. And she just hangs up on Paul.
Yeah,
which
she
I thought
hangs
was,
up on him.
I think it's so hilarious that Lindsay is just so, like, aloof this entire movie. It's kind of
Right.
funny. Lindsay runs into the laundry house.
And there's just a nice butt shot.
Annie's butt's just in the window.
She's like hanging out the window because she tried to get out through the window.
Yeah, so she got stuck. And Lindsay run in and says that, like, you locked yourself in.
It's like, uh-huh.
I feel like Michael thought that death is too...
That was too
That's
easy.
not dignified enough.
Yeah.
Like, that's just too easy. I'm not going to kill her while she's just stuck in this window.
Right.
I have to come up with something else.
Oh,
It's
God.
like playing Hitman, Rachel, where you're like, I'll come up with something
no, I
better.
want fun. Like, we need a better death.
That's an
Yeah.
idea for a video game. Now, I know that there's, like, Dead by Daylight and stuff, but you're
Yeah.
a slasher instead of, like, a hitman.
Oh, interesting.
Where you have to come up with elaborate deaths for
oh my
your victims.
God. That would be so weird.
It would just be the Hitman engine, but instead
Yes,
you're just Michael
but you're
Myers.
just Michael Myers or some serial killer.
Kind of work. Folks at home, take the Hitman engine and just make
Give me a mod.
Agent 47
I would-
Michael
yeah,
Myers.
mod that
and you
for
can
me.
only use a knife.
Let's go. I want this.
Kind of
Because you have to be sneaky.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to be sus of you at that point. So now they're coming back into the house, right? And Paul calls again because, you know, he
first
got
of all,
hung up on.
Annie tells Lindsay, promise you won't tell anybody about this.
That's true, too.
And then the
That's
second
true,
that Lindsay
too.
picks the phone back up because Paul's calling again, she goes, she got
Stuck in the
she
window.
got stuck in the window. Okay, now continue.
But the first thing, what is the first thing you do when you come inside?
You shut the goddamn door.
Close the door.
Someone close the fucking doors! That's a deep cut for somebody out there.
They have the door is just like wide open, and she gets on the phone with Paul.
Great moment.
Oh, I hate it.
I love this moment.
It's great, and I hate it so much. Every time, by the way, if you don't understand, I'm saying I hate it, but I love it. Okay, it's the same feeling at the same time. So she's on the phone with Paul, and she's doing that thing where you kind of like
She's walking back and forth.
pace and stuff. And as
Because when you had a landline, you could only go
You're
as
tied
far
down
as the
to that
landline. Yeah,
landline.
so you kind of pace around the room.
right. So she's pacing back and forth across the room. And as it's doing that, it's panning with her, the camera. So she crosses over the door, and there he is at the door that is wide open, just standing there staring at her. Then it pans back, and it pans again, and you just see the shadow of him as he moved away. Creepy.
It's wonderful. It's one of the iconic moments in this because it's he could be there.
It's horrifying.
He might not be there. Maybe you see
Yeah,
him. Maybe you don't.
You're starting to become paranoid,
making
wondering where he's at.
Exactly. It's making the audience look in the backgrounds because he can pop up at any time.
Yes.
They make plans to have Lindsay go over to
Paul
hang out with
Paul
Tommy and Lori.
figured out how to sneak out or something because he's grounded.
His parents left. What the fuck do you think he's gonna do if you
that's
just
true.
leave?
That's true. Yeah.
So she's gonna go pick up Paul, or she's just gonna go hang out with Paul.
Right.
I feel like she should have just gone and hang out with Paul. That's not what we learn is gonna happen, but just go hang out at Paul's house. Why would you bring him back to the Wallaces to make out?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess just in case his parents come.
Maybe.
Even
but
then,
he's
though,
not there.
Then he's home, and then she can sneak out.
She could sneak out. Yeah, I think this was poorly planned.
This was all, I guess, just so they could all hang out together.
Yeah, they wanted to do a sweet swingers.
Well, they would be all like screwing in different
chopping mall.
Yeah.
Orgy.
Well, but in different rooms, not just in different beds in the same room.
Sure. Yeah. Well, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, fine.
It's possible.
I don't know. I don't know what the plan was. Burnout Bob has a hippie van, so
yes, that we will get to as well because they should just be screwing in the van.
yeah,
Why are they going
It's
in this house?
Halloween. Go find Makeout Point and
Yeah, I guess.
and just screw in the car.
Yeah,
you know,
get
go to
killed,
the woods.
Go get killed by
the hooked man.
the Zodiac killer or whatever instead.
That's right.
Lindsay is watching Dr. Demento, and she's got all the lights off, and she just goes, "I'm scared." And he's like, "Then why are you sitting here with the lights off?" And she's like, "Cause I'm bored." I don't know.
She's bored.
So
this kid.
So they go out across the street.
Oh yeah, she goes, "I'm gonna take you. What if you watch the movie with Tommy?"
So she either likes Tommy or thinks
they're
it's
friends.
fun.
I mean, they live across the street from each other.
Yeah, so they probably hang out.
You know, when you're a kid and you live across the street from your friends, it's the best.
I did not remember this. I'll call it a jump scare. It's not. I mean, it's kind of a jump scare, but as they're walking across the street, the shape just pops up.
He was crouched next to the car. This is a hitman part. He's crouched next to the car.
I was changing this tire. Don't mind me.
And then he pops up like, whoop. Gotta stand up.
We find out that Ben Tramer went drinking, which is that's consistent in Halloween 2, by the way. So she can't call off the date, but watches Lindsay for her. She'll call the next day.
Which does not mean there's no way there was no way Annie was going to be like, I'm calling off the date. She would have just been like, I'm confirming the date.
That is probably true. But Annie's dead at the end of this.
Well, yeah.
Spoiler alert. So there's no one to call off that date. You think
right.
Laurie goes on that date?
No. I think Laurie is taking a break there. You know, she just needs a break, kind of needs to relax a little.
You don't think that Karen's dad is Ben Tramer? That could also be in the David Gordon Greeniverse. Karen and Allison are descendants of Ben Tramer.
Well, we don't know who the dude was.
No, we don't know who fathered Karen. Could be Ben Tramer.
It could have been. That's true.
You never know.
Or Ben.
So anyway, Annie goes and Laurie's like, the old Girl Scout comes through again, because she just knows that she's like the good one.
Right.
Annie is going to go get Paul. So she goes into the garage, because we surmised that the Wallaces were like, oh yeah, just go ahead and park your car in the garage. Oh, I guess they do have a garage. So they have a garage and this little hut with the stuff in it. So they do have a garage.
Yeah, so it's just like it's just a shed.
The door to the car
shed.
is locked, though, so she forgot the keys.
Yeah.
So she has to go back into the house to get the keys, and then she comes back out of the house, and she goes back to the car. I never thought about this or noticed this. It hangs on her for a while, going around the house and all this shit.
Right. So you don't know, like, is he following her around? Did he get in the house now that she, like, walked out of the house and left the door open?
So as the audience, you're just waiting for...
Like, when is he going to grab her? Is he going to grab her in the house? Yeah. Outside the house?
What's going to happen? I didn't realize that she just...
Oh, my God.
And she realizes it...
Oh, my God.
A second too late.
She doesn't unlock the car.
Doesn't unlock the car. She just
in.
grabs it again because she's, like, fantasizing about Paul. And she thinks about it like, wait, and then she realizes that the window's fogged up.
Right.
And that's when Michael grabs her.
Which is horrifying.
So
that is a fear right there. Getting into your car.
Yeah. To this day, I check the back seat of the car.
You always do. Always check under. Always check in the back seats before you get in. And always close that door immediately when you get into that car. Just saying.
Michael chokes her to death. I could see this.
I think he stabs her too.
He slits her throat, I think.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
They don't really show it very well. It's one of those things where they don't want you to see everything, so it's kind of like he chokes her, he stabs her, he slits her throat, he's doing stuff to her in the car.
The score makes a noise and the shape goes like this.
Oh,
I think. Yeah.
Okay. So, in that motion. That makes sense.
I bet this was really, really effective back then.
It's creepy.
In the theaters and stuff, and not having been desensitized to this kind of stuff.
But could you imagine seeing that and then having to walk to your car?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
No.
Nancy Loomis, who plays Annie, does this crossed eye thing when she dies. She looks a little goofy when she dies.
Sure.
The shadows are all really good in this scene and in the next scenes with Tommy and Lindsay. They like using the shadows from the TV and stuff. It's really,
they're
really
like
nice.
They're like thick, dark shadows.
Thick and dark, because
like
you don't know where he could be, so he could be in those. Tommy tries playing a prank on Lindsay, but as he does, he sees the shape, this is creepy, of just the shape carrying Annie's body.
Into the house!
Yeah. And Lindsay scares Tommy because Lindsay's like, I'm gonna spook Tommy. Tommy freaks out and is like, the boogeyman, I saw the boogeyman. And Laurie's like, you didn't see the boogeyman, nothing's happened. And Lindsay, kind of cutely, they should have in the David Gordon Green-verse, like, made them like a couple or something, because Lindsay just goes, I believe you, Tommy.
Aww. Yeah, when they get older. That could have been cute.
I mean, it would have been like Star Warsian, where it's like, oh, you have to bring back all these characters or whatever, but they did it anyway, so
they did it anyway.
might as well have done it.
Just do it then.
Back at the Myers house, because Loomis is just there. They don't have a lot for Loomis to do.
No, he's just hanging out next to a bush. He is literally just hanging out next to a bush.
My
at the
favorite
Myers
screen
house.
partner of all time was that bush in front of the Myers house in the movie Halloween.
I had a lot of conversations with that
Sean
bush.
Connery was wonderful, but that bush was the best. I had to put up with that damn Scotsman's antics. The bush was quiet. My throat's gonna be sore.
But seriously, he just stood next to a bush the whole time. Did he not think Michael wouldn't see him? Like, you're just standing right, like, in the driveway of the house.
Some of the kids come up to this house.
It's the bullies.
Because it's that, yeah, and it's that thing where, like, kids tease each other, like, go into the haunted house.
You're like, go touch it. Touch the house. I dare you to go up to the house.
My guess is also that Lonnie has told these kids, I saw this creepy dude. And they're like, it was probably the boogeyman.
Right.
So they're like, why don't you go in the house and, like, find the boogeyman? So Lonnie walks up and it's dare you to go in the Myers house.
Yeah, I dare you to.
And we get the, Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
I do love the fact that he says ass. Get your ass away from there.
Hey, Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
And
He's
the
just
kids
trying to
run
scare
away.
From the bush.
But
the
like,
bush is talking. He's doing the acting for the bush.
I guess so. I'm like, kind of like, what did the kids think?
Well, I mean, either supernatural, something is creepy, like the house is actually talking to me, that it is the boogeyman. The boogeyman is yelling at us, you know? I mean, that's no matter what, even if it's just an adult telling them to get away from the house, that's also scary. Run away before they catch us and get us in trouble. Right?
Sure. But Dr. Loomis comes back with this grin on his face that he hasn't had the rest of the time, and it makes me... It comes back to this, Dr. Loomis is the world's worst child psychologist. Because
he just traumatized those children.
Yeah, and he's like...
And he's like, happy about it.
As a hobby, I like to scare children.
Keeps me in business.
The more children I scare, the more clients I have.
He just goes around as Michael now.
Michael's taught me a lot about scaring children. Sometimes I dress up as Santa and just stare at them.
I just put on a Santa mask. It's like no eyes. That's all I'm picturing now. That is horrifying.
Yeah, that would be horrifying.
It's so scary. Like a dirty Santa costume and then like a weird, creepy Santa mask.
Well,
that
that's
has,
Silent
like, no
Night,
eyes.
Deadly Night. Add that to the list. It's just this movie, but Christmas.
Interesting.
Yeah. Sheriff Brackett scares Loomis. I don't know why you would walk up behind somebody like this when you know that they're expecting a mental patient to walk up behind you and stab you.
He probably even said Loomis or something. Maybe he said something and he just didn't hear him.
Yeah. And Loomis gives another shape speech about how he's dealt with this before and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Loomis tells him that death has come to your little town, Sheriff. Brackett's like, you're telling me that all these people are lined up for slaughter? And Loomis is like, they could be. And Sheriff Brackett says back to him, damn you then for letting him go. If anything happens, it's all going to be your fault.
I think he already feels that, though.
He already feels guilty, and it's not really his fault.
No, it's the damn
Smiths Grove people's fault.
Seriously.
He told them, pump him full of Thorazine if you're going to
Right, if you're going to move him, like, in a wheelchair and, like, make sure he's, like, out.
Yeah. Don't let him.
Because we don't know what he's capable of.
Yeah. But again, this is, like, everyone thought he was fine. He was just catatonic, and Loomis was like, no, he's waiting for his opportunity to strike.
Right.
Linda and Bob show up at the house.
This is so weird.
So this is where we talked about Bob's got this fuck van, and
I mean, honestly, yeah.
you're supposed to
It's
fuck
a
in the
van.
van. And
They
I get
have
it.
beers, they're drinking.
Maybe it's not as comfortable. They're drinking terrible. You know that beer is just swill. It's just the worst possible beer they could
It's the
find.
cheapest stuff they could get.
Yeah. And
Cheap and easy.
I always pictured in my head that it was the Myers house. I don't know why I did that. I wonder if I did that because I was conflating in part 6.
I think you're
when they do it in the
when
Myers
they're in the Myers house and
Yeah.
he kills people in the Myers house. It's not in the Myers house
No,
in this
and
one,
and
but
as
I
a-
think I
as a
understand
kid,
because I did the same thing.
Yeah, but I mean,
You kind of mix them all together.
Yeah, they go into the Wallace's house.
Because they thought that
Annie and Paul were going to be there.
Yeah, Annie and Paul were supposed to be
The
there.
door's just open, by the way. I guess because Annie got killed. So, like, the door is unlocked.
Well, yeah, but I think Annie would have had it unlocked anyways.
She was going to get Paul, though. You think that you think this is like one of those towns where people just keep their doors
Yes,
unlocked? Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. Don't do that.
No.
No matter where you are.
No, I don't
Do
trust.
not.
Don't trust other people.
Yeah, especially now because he's coming.
I don't like it.
So they come to the conclusion that Annie took Lindsay somewhere.
Which is like, where are you gonna take her?
To the Paul's. Or I guess to Lori's.
Oh yeah, maybe.
They went to the
Maybe
Doyles.
they just think she's across the street or
Yeah.
something. They start making out on the couch.
The Wallaces and the Doyles are going to have to move after this too, right? Because their houses
Yes.
you can't.
No.
Lindsay and Tommy are traumatized.
Yes.
Oh, there's 2 more clients.
Yes.
I'm going to give little Tommy and little Lindsay my card.
Come talk to me anytime.
There's a wonderful shot here. So they start making out, like you said. It looks like Judith Myers again. It's reminding him again.
Oh yeah, because they're making
Because
out
they're
on the
making
couch.
out on the couch when he first sees
That's
them. Then.
right.
And it pans out slowly, and then there's the shape just standing there.
Yeah, it's just standing in the hallway, like right in the foyer, like staring in at them. It's creepy.
Very creepy. Because now he's just a pervert.
I mean, he's still a stalker pervert, yeah.
I mean, he's been a pervert.
Stalker, pervert, murderer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tommy tries to scare Lindsay, and they're going back and forth trying to scare each other, and Laurie's like, stop this.
And they did their jack-o'-lantern.
I was going to ask you, why are all the goddamn lights off? I think they're off because she was trying to do the jack-o'-lantern.
Oh, yeah, so you got to see the jack-o'-lantern.
So I think
you
that
turn off
actually-
the lights to look at the jack-o'-lantern.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
But they leave the curtains open
Yeah,
everywhere.
like the blinds and the curtains are all open.
God, like, I never have my blinds open unless it's like a bright, sunny day.
Oh, yeah, bring in that sunlight. But otherwise, no, I don't want people to be able to look in. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
At least I
absolutely.
I do that angle enough that you're not going to really get to see it.
They've just got them all wide open. They go to watch the rest of the movie, but there's a phone call from Linda. And I guess they were just going to have this, like, make-out party there. Linda's excited to do it. She's totally excited to do it.
Totally excited.
Yeah, so we get this little back and forth because Linda's like, where's Annie? And Laurie's like, she must have just went to pick up Paul.
Right.
And Laurie's like, have a good time. PJ Souls plays this really well because she's just like, we will. Like, she's just so excited to have terrible teenager sex with
In a stranger's house.
with this loser
well, I guess like
Bob.
not a stranger house, but like in somebody else's house.
Yeah,
That's not even your friend's house.
It's all
It
very
is
weird.
like it's just so random.
They go up to this bedroom, the first bedroom on the left.
That's right.
They're going to take Lindsay's clothes off later, which is a very weird line that Bob says. He was trying to make some sort of joke.
Right.
But Linda's like, he's just a fucking idiot.
Right.
So anyway, they have a jack-o'-lantern just in the
Love
room
that.
with them for no
I
reason.
love it. That's not like a sexual thing to you? You don't think that
You
they're
think
like
that they're gonna? You
set
think
the
they're doing
mood.
some jack-o'-lantern play?
Set that mood. No,
Okay,
I'm just saying
folks
with the
at
lighting.
home, let us
I'm
know
just
if
saying
there's
with
some
the lighting. Get the
jack-o'-lantern
hell out of
play.
here. I'm
Oh,
saying with the lighting.
okay, it's just for
Stop.
atmosphere. Okay, that's much better than what I was thinking, which was that they were gonna drop hot wax from the jack-o'-lantern on each other somehow. It wouldn't be even hot wax; it would be hot pumpkin guts. Rachel's gone. She's leaving the room.
I don't even know what to say to that.
She's leaving now.
What am I supposed to say to that?
Your theory makes a lot more sense.
I just meant like that spooky Halloween mood with the jack-o'-lantern and the lighting, like, ooh,
Yeah, I'm
mood
sure people
lighting
do that.
candle. I don't even know if they brought it up there. Like, where the hell did this jack-o'-lantern
Why
come
would there
from?
just be a jack-o'-lantern in this bedroom? It's clearly like the parents' bedroom.
You think it's actually the parents' bedroom?
It's that or a guest bedroom.
I think it's got to be
It's
the
not
guest
Lindsay's.
Because why would they have chosen, like...
That's uncalled
That's
for.
creepy.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
That would be very uncalled for.
No.
And these
Maybe the
kids,
parents are into having
No.
that jack-o'-lantern.
Maybe. We don't know what the Wallaces are up to. They might be at a swingers party for all we know. These kids deserve to die.
I mean, yeah.
Because, I mean, all right.
They're doing weird things.
They're in the bed. The phone rings again. I don't know if it's supposed to be Lori.
I assume it's Lori. My assumption is it's Lori because she said, like, didn't she say she wanted them to tell her when Annie got
When
back?
Annie got back. Yeah.
Because she needed to know. Oh,
So
wait,
maybe
was
it's-
that later? Or
No,
is
no,
that
no,
now?
it already happened. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So maybe it's been a while and Lori's checking in, but they just take the phone off the hook so that they can screw. And we see the entire
It's too much.
the entire sex scene.
Yeah, it's very short.
The shape comes into frame, which is it's just his shadow.
Did I even notice that before? Ew.
And Rachel was disappointed in this sex scene.
I'm not disappointed because I wanted to see teenagers have sex. I was just laughing because it was just like, that was very, very quick.
They're smoking in bed. Linda wants a beer.
You gotta get that smoke after sex.
Linda's such a weird character.
I don't
She's like, go
understand-
give me a beer.
Well, she's like, yeah, go give me a beer. And then she's got like the cigarette, but then she's got like these pigtails with like ribbons in her hair. It's too much.
Now they're smoking in somebody's bed.
Yeah, that's rude. We
And
don't
you're
know-
smoking in somebody's house. And yes, I get it. It's 1978.
We don't
so
know
they're
if
all
they're
probably
smokers.
But you're making this house smell like smoke.
rude. It's
Bob
rude.
goes down and gets. Maybe they
Steals
brought.
their beer. Oh, you
I
think they
thought
put
about
it
this.
in the
Maybe
fridge?
they just put it in the fridge.
Oh, that makes sense. That would make sense. They're just trying to keep it cool.
Yeah.
But doesn't turn on a damn light in this house.
Doesn't turn on a single light. Linda, you asshole. I love Bob's delivery of
yeah.
that line. So Bob sees that the door is open.
So wait, so he watches them.
Also,
Do you think he
do
was
they-
like in the closet and then he like left the closet and then he goes downstairs to leave the?
He followed Bob downstairs.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Do any of them know that Lester exists too? Because they're all
Good
just
question.
moseying around
Good
without...
question. Maybe they just think he's an outdoor dog.
Well, maybe they
he's
think
quiet,
he's just
he's
hanging out
sleeping.
outdoors. Yeah, that's possible.
This
Rachel
This
freaks
got me.
out from this
because
one,
I knew it was coming
but didn't know exactly when it was coming.
or where he was coming from. I couldn't remember.
Michael charges out, grabs Bob, chokes him, posts him up against the wall, stabs him
Into the wall.
into the wall, which is not possible, but does it, and then admires
Myth
his
busted.
work. It's the dog head tilt, but what it's supposed to be is that he's looking at it like he's admiring his work. He's like looking back and forth like, yes, it's a good job that I put it up there. The way that WWE would use it with Kane was that they would make it almost the dog, like confused head tilt, which is different.
Like
That's
thinking.
not what he's doing here.
Like trying to understand.
Trying to understand. He's doing it like, yes, very good. Admiring it.
It feels more admirable. Now, he's very theatrical.
You can also hear him breathing.
I hate
Which
the
is-
breathing. Anytime they have like the mask and you're like in his perspective and you hear that, I hate it. It's unsettling.
Very unsettling. It's like a kid flying a kite outdoors at night.
Hello, mother. No, I was just saying he's extremely theatrical. Like he's
Yes.
admiring his work.
Well, because
And
that,
then this
leads into
next
that leads into the
scene-
next thing.
And I'm wondering too if he's just like sizing up Bob and trying to figure out what Bob would do.
Oh, I like that interpretation.
Like he's like,
too.
I'm
all right,
going
very
to
good. Now,
become
what's my
you.
next move?
What's my next move?
Yeah, I gotta go kill the Judith Myers.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like that because Linda spells her name with a Y, so she deserves to die. I'm stealing that from Cinema Snob. But I like that little joke he says.
Yeah.
Superfluous Ys. Not for them. Very against. All superfluous Ys.
Interesting.
Folks, if you have a superfluous Y, I'm sorry. Get that changed. You don't need it. It's okay. You can tell your parents, why did you give me a superfluous Y? Superfluous Y is a great... I'm sorry. It's extremely late, and as the later it gets, the more tangents I go on. Superfluous Y, great name for an alternative like jazz.
I
group.
love it. Yeah, the Superfluous Y.
Superfluous Y. He gets extremely theatrical.
Oh my god.
Because
this is weird.
Linda is filing her nails. And I hate the sound of filing nails. I'm just going to say that right now. It's going to come up a million times.
It's kind of like nails on a chalkboard.
It's awful.
That scratchy
I
scratchy
can't
sound.
stand it in real life, on film, on anything. It's bad.
It's like sanding something.
Yeah, it's sanding. Sanding.
Oh, you don't like the sanding
It hurts my
sound.
teeth.
Interesting. Doesn't bother me. But I guess I'm just used to it.
Yeah, because you do it. The door kind of opens.
Yeah.
Which, it's one thing. Bob shut the door behind him. The fuck?
Yeah, that's weird too.
Because nobody's shutting doors behind them. And if he wouldn't have done that, maybe she would have seen the shape following him downstairs.
Right.
I like the fact that Michael had to figure out how to... I'm assuming he draped the stuff over him right then and there. Like, right outside the door, because otherwise you just hear...
Well,
what if she just heard, like, bumbling and stumbling around?
Crap. Because he has a sheet over him, and Bob's glasses on over that.
Yeah, so
he still has the mask on.
He's pretending to be
mind
dressed
you.
up as a ghost, but he has the mask on, a sheet, and Bob's glasses.
Yeah.
My glasses. So there's no way that he can see what he's doing.
No, not at all.
So he's got to follow Linda's voice.
Yes.
To make this next kill.
Which works because she doesn't stop talking.
PJ Souls, big poofy hair at this point. I guess because she's disheveled and afterglow at this point. Improvised line. So she says in the... I can't remember what she said. In the script, it was like something about like, oh, big boy, something, blah, 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 something like that. Like, come back to bed, I think is what she said it was. She improvised. John was like, we could probably do a little nudity if you're comfortable with it. And she was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And she was like, thought like it would be kind of a funny line to do, see anything you like.
Right. And she has her boobs out.
And that's one of the most famous boobs out.
She's very confident.
She's very confident. I feel like that's like the first, like, you need a boob shot in these slasher movies because of Linda.
Oh, you think it's because of Linda?
I think it's because of this scene. I think it's because of see anything you like. I think
no, they don't have it like completely like
it's
shown though. You kind of
like,
see it for a second, or like the top of her nipple, or her like areola or something. But it's like
I'm telling you though, I think it's just like one of those things where it's like it's so iconic, that it became like you got to find a moment for the boobs.
It's like unnecessary, but okay.
It's very necessary.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
No,
keep it up.
You know what? If you see boob, you need penis.
Fine, I don't care. More boobs.
But the
more
ratio
butts.
is completely off.
If you want to show a dick, show a dick. I don't care.
I'm just saying. Let's
show everything. Let's bring it back.
You know what? Nudity.
Nudity.
I want a full. No, I don't. I'm not even going.
She was about to say it. Everyone knows.
I was gonna make a joke. It's not happening. I don't want that.
She doesn't want to even record it because she knows I'm not going to cut it out.
No, you're not.
Okay, so she does see anything you like. She pleads for the beer, but the shape just stands there. And she's like, come on, give me my beer. And
she does say, can I get your ghost? And I don't know what that meant.
I don't know what that means either. Is that a phrase?
I don't know.
Should we Google it? Can I get your ghost, Bob? Oh, is that like a dick joke?
Oh, like little ghost Bob.
No, it's can I get your ghost?
I'm not finding anything.
By the way, I think that what we want to say there is that we want more boobs, butts, and balls on screen.
Boobs, butts, and balls?
Boobs, hashtag boobs, butts, and balls.
No hashtagging. Do not hashtag us in that.
Actually, probably don't hashtag us in that, but that could be a shirt.
Boobs, butts, and balls?
Boobs, butts, and balls.
Thriller, boobs, butts, and balls.
It's like a little shape mask, or like the knife is going through all three of them. Oh, that's what it is. So it's like the boobs, and the O's are making the boobs, right? But there's a dagger going through them, and then the same with the butt cheeks, and then the same with the balls.
Oh my god.
I've got an idea. I've decided that in all of the WWE films, we need more boobs, butts, and balls. In fact, tell all of the wrestlers that I want to make sure that all of their boobs, butts, and balls are defined well on screen.
People just love it though, and they have tattoos of this of Michael in a ghost costume, and yeah.
Really?
Yep.
I'm kind of not surprised.
Pins.
Why
Enamel pins.
that always scares me with the people that are like that into horror, that they're like putting Michael Myers on your body.
Well, no, it's him as the ghost.
That's even weirder. Actually, it's not as weird.
Because it's like he's playing Bob. And they even called it, "Can I get your Ghost Bob tattoo?"
Oh, very weird.
People are weird.
So,
"Can I get your Ghost Bob pin?" I don't understand that line.
so the shape is standing in the doorway.
Not speaking to her.
Linda is like...
She's getting upset.
Yeah,
at this
like,
point.
why are you not answering me? Like, what's your problem? You're a fucking weirdo. Before she can figure it out, the phone rings. Oh, wait, no. She calls...
Yeah, she
calls
"I'm gonna call
Lori because the phone's off the hook. So she's like, this is going nowhere. I'm going to call Lori. And that's when the shape realizes, like, well, I'm going to have to do this now.
Right.
So as Lori answers the phone, the shape comes up from behind and chokes out Linda with the cord.
With the cord of the landline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would actually... Would that
No, I
choke
could
you?
see it. I could see it.
Back in the 70s, maybe?
They're like thick wires.
That's true. I mean,
all he has to do is pull it tight.
yeah.
You know, get it around there, pull it taut.
Yeah.
Scary.
That's probably true. If you make it tight, it probably would. Yeah. Linda, it's creepy, and it's creepier when like the sheet gets pulled off of the
Yes.
shape. And Lori on the other end is like, Linda, are you okay? Is Annie there? And that's when we get the first shot, real good
close.
picture of the shape.
Yes.
And it's kind of even creepier because like he slowly, like not almost like he doesn't know how to do it right, takes the phone up to his ear and like it's like very
He's, like,
robotic.
breathing in it? Yeah.
And breathes into it, and Lori like panics.
and listening. Yeah.
because
I thought
because
she
she
was gonna-
thinks
Yeah.
she thinks that Linda just called her to have sex in this
Right.
phone.
That's what I thought she thought. Right.
Here's my
Or
question.
she was like pranking her.
Yeah, she thought like why? Because she was like, oh, at first I got Annie's chewing. Oh, so this is what I think it was. She knows that Annie called earlier and
Was chewing
was
in the
chewing
phone.
into the phone, and she got freaked out. So she was like, oh, first I got Annie's famous chewing, now I got your famous wailing or panting or whatever she said.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it, because I was gonna say
So she thinks her friends are just pranking her, which I guess makes sense
Yeah.
because this one seems like she would do something
would.
like that.
I was gonna ask, are these? Is it just a thing that Linda does where she just calls while she's having sex with Bob and just calls Lori and's like, so how's it going? And like, that's what I thought.
No, I think that would be a rare event, a rare occurrence.
I would hope so.
But I do feel
Yeah,
like
Bob's on top of me.
well, if she's really that bored during it. But I do feel like she would do it as a prank to be like, look how like sexy we sound having sex.
Just to rub it into Lori that she's not getting any.
Maybe like or like to like be like, you want this, like you should.
Yeah,
you
come
should
on, Lori, join the fun.
No, not like a threesome.
No,
I'm
that's not
saying-
what I meant. I didn't mean that. I just meant as just doing it. Unless they count it as a threesome because Lori's on the other end.
Ew! No!
It's a
Do
bro-
not subject anybody
this is
to
a brother
that.
and
No
sister
consent.
podcast.
That is
I
no
will
consent.
I will remind you all, brother and sister podcast. I'm
Why
sorry.
do you have to remind them that?
Because I'm sorry, but it was just right there.
But I'm just saying, that person on the other line did not consent. Do not call somebody.
So anyway, Lori tries to call again, and the phone, I think Michael took it off the hook. So she goes upstairs. The shape turned the lights off, and that's why Lori called again, because she was like, why'd the lights turn off?
Yeah, like, why did they turn off the lights now when you were acting weird?
She goes upstairs. The kids were put to bed. I like that she just was like, just sleep in this bed, because I think Lori is a little bit like, everybody's a little out of sorts, so why don't you two just
yeah,
like sleep
stay in the
this
same
bed?
room. Yeah.
Loomis is still just sitting by that damned bush.
That damn bush. Him and that bush are best friends now.
I've learned a lot about the Myers house from this perspective.
Of being the bush. The bush in front of Myers' house.
It saw everything that night. It was much younger then. Loomis finally sees the car.
You
'Cause
have
it was
been,
just down
you
the
have been
block.
friends with this bush this entire time, and you didn't look to your left?
I don't think that the
Sir, You were in that car.
He's a terrible doctor.
He's so terrible. All he did was have to look to his flipping left
The other
to
is
see a
so-
car that doesn't look like it should be there.
Well, it's got the seal of the state of Illinois on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like a hearse. The car looks like a hearse,
Yeah,
for
'cause
one.
it's this,
it's not like
medical...
a wagon. It looks like a hearse.
No, it's like a wagon. It's got a bigger back end, I'll give you
That
that.
back end is like long.
Yeah, it's a little long.
Like it's not as long as a hearse, but I mean it looks like one.
Yeah, a little bit.
Which then makes like Michael like an undertaker because like the car.
Sure, I think that's the idea.
So he finally sees everything, and he sees
Yeah,
the car.
he
and
runs
knows.
down the street, and he knows Michael's nearby.
Right.
Because he's got the car there. So he knows Michael's on foot somewhere, because he's not driving around in the car. Lori decides, she stands in the doorway for a little bit, and she's just like, I'm going to go check on him. Something's wrong.
I do also like that she knits. I'm just going to point that out.
She does knit. She's got her knitting. Because after the kids were put to bed, she was going to knit.
Obviously.
She takes the keys, locks the door behind her.
Right. As you should. Good job, Lori. Locking that door.
Thinks she's going to go across the street and check on it. And we get another pan shot of her going across the street. I like the quietness and the eeriness. Because it's the middle of the suburbs.
Have you ever walked outside in the suburbs in the middle of the night?
I
have.
Yeah, me too. My friends lived around the corner.
Right.
And they would always be like, oh, you can just walk home. The two of them lived next to each other. So walking home was not that big of a deal. And I was like, you don't understand. I gotta walk around the corner.
Right.
There were many a night where I would sprint home because it's eerie. It's very eerie.
It tends to be quiet.
Sometimes even like the city can get that eeriness, but like that's not usually as
No,
bad.
it's a different eerie.
It's a different
That's
eerie.
a weirder hum.
Yeah, it's a different hum.
No, but
that's
serious
true. That's
though,
true.
because there's more electronics and like there's stuff
There's
still
just
happening.
nothing. It's
and
just
so there's
blank.
a hum, but there's just nothing in like the suburbs or out in the country. Ugh.
So Lori it's a long shot because again
she
it's
takes
like
her
building
time.
up of her.
I think she's just concerned at this point. She's feeling uneasy.
Yeah.
She's going to go check on her friend.
But the movie takes its time to walk over there. I have her walk over there. She rings the doorbell. Probably was a mistake because now the shave knows you're there.
I know.
Well, what are you gonna do?
I know. She didn't know.
She investigates. She tries to find Annie and Linda.
The door is locked. The front door is locked, so Michael locked the door.
Oh, is the front door locked?
I don't think she could get in.
I guess she
I think
would
that
have
was the
walked
whole
in
point
that way,
because
she
doesn't.
like goes around the back.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, she must. Yeah, because
So
the back door is open, and that's weird too. Although I thought Bob shut it, but I guess because he
got killed. He went to look at the door,
Yeah,
and he
that's
got
right.
killed.
That's when he came out. Okay.
Yeah, I got jump scared on that one.
And there also should be a broken plant somewhere too. Lori's looking around. I really want her to turn on a freaking light. She walks around this house. I would be turning on every
feel scared.
single light.
Yes, when you feel scared, especially when you're looking for something or someone,
Or you think something's wrong.
something is wrong, you turn on every goddamn light you see.
Yes.
Every light.
Every light.
I want it to
Nowadays,
be like,
you'd have.
glowing.
Nowadays, you wouldn't necessarily have to deal with this as much because you'd have the cell phone in hand.
Oh yeah, you'd have like that flashlight. You'd have.
Oh no, I was even gonna say like you'd be calling Tommy.
You'd be calling
Tommy,
somebody.
I know I just woke you up. Stay on the line.
Right.
Or one of these other people.
If I yell,
because obviously
hang
they're not
up,
going to
call
answer.
911.
Yeah, exactly. or call Sheriff Brackett and be like, hey, something's. I guess she should have called Sheriff Brackett and said
Yeah, but
something's
she
weird
doesn't
going
want
on.
to get Annie in trouble.
That's true.
So
You're right.
it's also this weird dynamic of we're teenagers, and if Annie's with her boyfriend and not doing her job, and
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and Linda points that out.
so maybe
too.
it's not a big deal.
Yeah, and
maybe I'm just
Linda
throwing
points that
things out
out.
of proportion.
Sure. She still should have turned on a fucking light, though.
Oh my god.
So this is where she walks into the one bedroom, and Annie has been laid out.
You know who she should have called? Paul.
She should have called Paul to see if Annie showed
Did
up.
Annie show up?
Yeah, you're right.
She should have
called
called
Paul. Frickin' Paul, man, got away with murder. Got away with being murdered.
Without being murdered.
Got away with it. Annie has been laid out with the Judith headstone.
Yes, on the bed.
Mm-hmm. Bob is hung upside down and swings at her.
Yes.
And Linda is in the closet. This was all John Carpenter doing, as he put it, funhouse stuff. Because he was like, I remember, he says, like, when he was a kid, he remembers going to the funhouse.
And he was dressed as a clown as a kid. So that's probably why he went to a circus, or he was, like, at some toy, like, seriously. That might be why he wanted to be dressed as a clown for Halloween.
Could have been. Yeah, because, I mean, it's the 60s, so that would have been
So he
more...
probably went to a circus or some type of carnival, and he might have gone to, like, a fun house. It might all be, like, embedded in his head.
Yeah, to be theatrical like that, for sure. Yeah, so this is all supposed to be, like, from John Carpenter's point of view, this is supposed to be taking elements of, like, the jump scares.
Right.
And putting it in horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much that was done before. I mean, it's been done since. Everything is trying to make you get the Bob hanging out the window and the closet door flying open.
The jump scare is, like, overused at this point.
Yeah, it's not good.
There's not enough build-up.
Because people don't do the build-up like
you
John
just
Carpenter.
know it's going to happen.
Yeah. John Carpenter did it right
and
with
it's
the
just
build-up.
loud instead of being, like, actually eerie and creepy.
So let's talk about the best shot in the movie now.
Oh my god.
So
she sees all the dead bodies, is going into hysterics. I would have been out of the house already. I would have been down that stairs and out of the house.
There's only 15 minutes of this movie left. It's paced beautifully.
Oh my god, yes.
Considering if you think about this in your head,
yeah,
and you think about what everything is about to happen.
Yes.
A half an hour at least, right?
I would have thought.
It's 15 minutes.
That's so short.
With the credits.
That's so short.
This is like a 10-minute sequence.
And the credits are like 3 or 4 minutes long.
That's what I'm saying. It's insane.
Oh my god.
So this is one of the best shots ever in cinema. Fight me. Honest. Don't fight me on it. But folks at home, if you haven't seen this movie, this moment is wonderful.
Oh, it's unsettling.
So John Carpenter wanted to do something where, because they've had him lurked in the shadows so long, to have him exposed from the shadows,
as if your eyes are adjusting
to the darkness.
Yes.
Did you watch that documentary? Because I can't remember if they said that in that one, or did you watch another one?
I was reading some articles, actually.
Okay.
And there was a couple that talked about it.
There's
and
so
that's what
much
he said.
stuff written about this
He wanted
movie.
it to adjust, like, your eyes are adjusting. And so they had, like, a reflective, like, thing go to his
Dean
face.
Cundy was like, this will be fun. Let's try to figure this out. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like a dimmer.
Yeah. So they just rose the dimmer on Nick Castle, who's playing the Shape.
Yeah.
His face. And,
which would glow anyways because it's white.
And as you kind of just sit there with Laurie, suddenly the Shape comes into frame. And it is it's so good.
Oh, it slowly comes into frame too, and I hate it.
And he just walks up from behind her. He
goes to stab her.
Goes to stab her. He only gets the arm, though.
Right.
But Laurie spills over the railing and falls down the stairs.
Oh, that hurts. Could you imagine having to get up and run after that?
Oh, I mean, at this point,
they're like wood stairs too, and like the floor upstairs and downstairs made of stone for some reason. I don't know why, but it's like
made
bricks.
Of stone? I thought it was just wood.
They're like bricks. If you look at like the
I think
floors,
it's just like really hard.
No,
wood.
it looks like bricks. It looks like the way that they
that's tile.
And like brick tiling is what it looks
like.
It's
very
to me.
hard tiling. It's the 70s.
It's so weird.
Remember what I said about the 70s on the Superman episode, folks? Go back to the back catalog and listen. It's a dirty, gross, disgusting decade. Everything is hard. Everything is brown.
That's true.
Everything is meant to kill you.
They do love like those brown tones.
Yeah, all meant to kill you. So Laurie is, she's got a limp now because she fell down the fucking stairs.
Yeah.
Michael does not go slowly, as people think. He's kind of moving to go get her.
Yeah.
She shuts
you gotta remember he's got a mask on.
Yeah, and it's dark because all the lights are off.
So he kind of like does that, I'm gonna move at a pace that I'm not gonna fall down the stairs myself. And I'm not gonna like hit things in the dark.
Also true. She shuts the kitchen door.
Yes.
Locks it.
Good
idea. And then she tries to get out the back door, which is locked
She
now.
panics. No. It's
a side door. This isn't the back door. It's a different door.
Well, it's not locked. There's a thing blocking it.
Oh.
It's like wedged.
Okay. So he must have been...
I think
trying
he
to
must
seal
have.
her in.
Yeah, so he must have done that while she went upstairs to go find her friends.
And then he went
and
into
then
the
he
other
went through
room.
like the front door or the side door. And
Very, very
then,
methodical.
Man, he's thinking.
This monster. So she
But she
can't...
panics, and this is bad. This is bad.
Well,
on her
she
part.
wastes too much time trying to get the
Yes.
door open, and he's...
Break the damn window. I would have broken that window instantly. There's a chair right there. Smash it.
Yeah, so eventually she does because he busts through the door.
It's too late.
But she is able to run out.
I get it. You're building tension. You think he's gonna get her because she's panicking.
Mm. And she just starts screaming bloody murder. She's stumbling around. She falls, of course, because she has to. 'cause
Expected.
That's,
That's
a trope.
It's a trope, but she
started
also
by
fell
this
down
movie.
the stairs.
Yeah, and she fell down the stairs. She knocks on the next
She
door.
pounds on their door and screams.
And
they turn off the light.
They turn off the light. They look outside. They turn off the lights.
I'm not getting involved.
That's pure John Carpenter. To be like, it's...
You're alone.
Your neighbors don't care.
Nobody wants to be involved.
Yeah, because he's a cynical man. He thinks that people suck.
I mean...
yeah.
He might not be wrong.
Yeah. The neighbors ignore him, or ignore her. She doesn't know what to do. So she runs back to the Doyles, and she's trying to get the keys, but she can't find the keys. And she's like shouting at the window to try to get Tommy. And at the meantime, we see the shape making his way.
Yeah, he's like walking.
He's
Now I think
walking
he's just trying
at
to
a-
figure out where she went.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just like walking at a pace. And you see him walking toward the Doyles.
Well, she's trying to wake them up.
So Tommy finally lets her in.
So she tells him to go upstairs and get Lindsay and go hide in the closet.
Yeah.
And
because she goes to call the police.
She goes to call the police.
Okay. There's a window open, though.
The line seems cut.
Yeah.
And is it a window or is it like a side door? I guess it could just be the window.
It looks like a window. So there's this window open, and she gets worried.
Which is weird because no windows were open.
Yeah, she didn't have any windows open. So now she's afraid that there's something there. So she gets like kind of in like a crouch position to like try to hide.
Honestly, she's crouched next to knitting needles.
She grabs one of the knitting needles, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, it's a good idea.
Good idea, because those things are sharp.
So the shape goes to stab her. So he was hiding on the other side of the couch. He goes to stab her. She stabs him in the neck.
In the neck?
With a knitting needle.
That's a good spot.
Yeah, so I mean, it pierces his neck, and I love the amount of times that he just kind of collapses. Yeah, so he just falls back.
Well, it's like the first time, I guess, that he's going to feel pain.
True. That's true, yeah. So he hasn't really... He was not expecting that.
Right.
So he's just laying on the ground. Lori's like, okay, good, I stopped him. She has the
knife.
Butcher knife in her hand.
And I think she realizes that this is what killed her friends. And that's why she drops it.
Yeah, she does look at it kind of disgustedly. Because critique of this is that she lets go of that butcher knife
so
too
many
often.
times.
And it's like, stop letting go of the fucking butcher knife. You have a knife in your hand. And you even said it when we were watching it last night. You got to double tap him.
You got to double tap.
But I think when your adrenaline's rushing and you're not thinking straight, and
or at least get him down and then run to find help, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Don't just stay
just
next
get
to the
out
body.
of there. But she needs to go get Tommy and Lindsay too.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I think
You're
was
right.
part of it as well.
I think
So Loomis is walking around aimlessly, and Brackett comes up and he's like, "Where were you?" And he's like, "I found the car. He's got to be in the radius.
Right.
You take the backs. I'll take the fronts." You asked me offline. You're like, "Why did he do that? Like, why would
this point you should be calling for backup?" And he doesn't tell him.
I posit.
I know.
He's determined. He's gonna shoot. He's gonna kill.
He needs to kill him. Yeah, he can't let him just like.
Yeah, so
bring him in.
He needs Brackett to stop him if he can. Sure, but Loomis is like, if I find him, I'm killing him.
Right. Because you pointed out the fact that his hand is in his pocket.
His hand is in his pocket.
Gripping that gun.
Yeah, he's gripping the gun. Yeah. Which is good acting by Donald Pleasance.
Yes.
To, like, have that sense of, like, to be on the ready.
Oh, yeah.
Lori goes upstairs and gets the kids. I guess we should say this about Donald Pleasance before we get to the ending of the movie. So, according to John Carpenter and the crew even, Donald Pleasance was professional, but he was drinking a lot of wine before a lot of these things were filmed.
Yeah.
Because he was, I think, at first, he was like, I'm in this little low-budget shit. It's just 10 days, and the only reason I'm here is because his daughter was a rock star, or in a band.
Okay.
I don't know if she was a rock star, but she was probably like a punk band or something in England. And she liked the music in Assault on Precinct 13 because of John Carpenter. So she told her dad, "You need to be in this because John Carpenter, he did the music in that movie." So he was like, "Fine, okay," and he's probably testing John Carpenter by telling him that story too.
True.
So he would drink a lot of wine before some of these scenes, and he was only there for like 2 weeks. But
well, I think they shot this in only 20 days or something.
Yeah, it was 4 weeks to shoot, I think.
Something ridiculous.
Yeah, and they only had him for 10 days or something like that. Once he realized how passionate the crew was and how good John Carpenter was at directing, that he was totally on board. Except he still was drinking he was still drinking the wine and stuff. But in the interviews, John Carpenter was like, no, at first he was testing me. But he was like, but we became friends. And
that's good.
And there's a funny, Donald Pleasance is probably drunk, but there's this funny behind the scenes scene where John Carpenter is trying to explain what Michael did.
Right.
And he's saying they go upstairs to do the deed and Michael follows them and Donald Pleasance goes, "Oh my God." and John Carpenter just goes, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's this little cute moment.
That's funny.
So anyway, I had to get that in there about Donald Pleasance.
Oh, that's totally fine.
So Lori goes upstairs and gets the kids.
Yes.
And she's like, I killed him. Don't worry about it. And
we're gonna have to go.
We have to go. We have to go get the police.
Right.
And Tommy is like, but he was the boogeyman.
You can't kill
the boogeyman. And as he says this, the shape is
you can see the shape
coming up the stairs. It's just a good image of, because you see the shadow of him walking up the stairs.
It's the shadow before you see him.
It's again, I don't know if you can see this on the old or even on TV.
You have to be able to see
but on
the
the
movement.
4K and stuff, it's just so good. All the shadows and shit is just so good.
So now he's upstairs.
Yes.
She throws them into another room or maybe it's a bathroom and locks the door.
Locks him because she's hoping to kind of lure him to her, I guess.
So she makes more noise, opens
a window,
balcony door. There's
I guess that is
balcony.
The balcony. You're right.
Yeah.
For the next
I think
part.
and I think it's because she's trying to trick him
into thinking
that
she went out
there
to
either climb down a trellis or go on the roof or something.
Mm-hmm.
But she goes and hides in the closet.
She wraps a thing around the closet so he can't get in, and he realizes that she's in there, so he starts banging on the closet. This was a one-time thing that they had, so I think Tommy Lee Wallace was like, I'll be the shape for this scene because we only have one shot to break this thing, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty tense because he's pounding on this door.
Oh my God.
And he eventually breaks in. He turns the light on accident, but it
looks like he intentionally did it.
Yeah,
which is great.
It illuminates the closet,
and it's shaking because it's just a light bulb.
Yeah, it's a little light bulb in the closet, and
which just it adds to the shadows.
Oh yeah,
because
it's swinging back and forth. Yeah, absolutely. It looks really, really good. He's coming in, so he's getting himself
trying to
in.
stab at her.
Lori grabs a wire hanger.
Yes.
In this case, wire hangers, a good thing.
Yes.
And she
typically don't like wire hangers.
No wire hangers. You don't know that one?
It's gotta be a Seinfeld.
Oh, it's a Mommy Dearest about Judy Garland.
I've never watched Mommy Dearest. We've talked about this.
Put it on the list. Not farther down, but it's on there. So she takes a wire hanger. She unfurls.
And does she get him in the eye?
She stabs him in the eye.
That's a good aim, getting him straight in the eye.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's
going.
Shark,
now she's doing.
She's going for it because she knows.
Right?
Yeah,
poke
exactly.
him in the eye.
Yeah, he's a great white shark. You got to poke him in the eye. He drops the knife. Lori, I get it. You stabbed him in the neck with the knitting needle.
You stabbed him in the eye.
But that's all you did, was
Yes.
stab him in the eye. He's not dead. You just stabbed him in the eye.
He probably passed out.
Yeah, or it's bleeding or
Yeah,
something.
he went into like a blackout moment for a second.
But she drops the goddamn butcher knife again, and
This is the stupid part. She tells the kids to go get help, doesn't go with them.
She's staying behind, I guess, maybe in case he gets back up. I don't know.
No, because I really think she should have
She should have gone with
them.
him. Yeah, she should have gone with him. So she tells the kids, go to the neighbors, get help. And this is, again,
Oh, good moment.
one of the greats. He sits up and turns his head toward her. But it's in the, if you've never seen this, it's in the way he does it. Because normally, folks, if you are laying flat on your back, go to sit up, your legs are going to kind of move.
You kind of bend them,
Yeah,
or you
you're
might
gonna
go
bend.
to the side for a second
Yeah.
to adjust. He pops up.
That's not what happens. The front of his body, hips and up, move upward.
Slowly.
And his arms don't move. They just stay at the
Stay
side.
at the side. Oh.
And then his head slowly turns to the left to look at Lori, and nothing else.
That's it.
It's wonderful. If any of you are wrestling fans, The Undertaker and Kane
Yes.
do this
The sit-up pop-up. Yeah.
It's great, because it is just like this undead
unsettling.
being
Rising from the grave.
Yeah, it's not natural
No.
to move like that. Loomis sees Lindsay and Tommy running. and
Yes, 'cause
screaming.
they're like screaming, and he goes, "Children screaming, running out of a house.
They left the
This
door
gotta-
open.
This has to be the house."
Yeah. But the shape stands up, and slowly, Lori is got her back turned towards him, which is
Yeah,
not smart.
I mean, I understand that she's like trauma
Yeah.
and is just like,
And she's done some smart things, more than people give her credit for.
yeah, no, she did. She did. She fought back.
But she slowly starts to walk out, and Michael, in a fit of rage,
Grabs
just
her.
runs and grabs her and tries to choke her out.
strangle her.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she grabs his mask
and pulls it up.
and peels it off. As he puts it back on, which you can even see the eye injury that she gave him.
Yes.
Because his eye is like swollen or shut.
Mm-hmm.
As he puts it back on, Loomis shoots him. And then he just kind of stands there and looks at Loomis. And Loomis shoots him like 5 more times.
Over and over and over.
He falls off the balcony, and there he lies on the ground.
Again, seemingly dead.
And
I mean, he's shot many times, honestly.
I shot him 6 times! is what we learned in the second movie.
Right.
There was an interesting theory that I heard or read. I can't remember
I thought
where.
maybe he put on something. Like some type of chest.
Oh,
plate.
okay.
Some type of padding.
I think this is possible.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I don't know if this is my headcanon of it or not. I think Michael's just got a supernatural ability.
He's got a
he's just
supernatural
oozing
something.
pure evil.
Well, if he's possessed by a demon, yeah.
No. No, I'm not saying that.
It's also evil, though. That's what he means by when he says he's like the devil and he's possessed.
I understand that, but I'm not saying like literally he's possessed. I'm just saying that he embodies evil and you can't kill it. So it either has to die on its own and change shape, or it's just going to keep coming back. So I'm not saying like literally that's the case. I'm just saying like it's like metaphorically.
Okay, but metaphorically, he wouldn't be alive if it was metaphorical. So in this, he's got to be the embodiment of evil. His body is now the vessel for evil. If he is going to be murdered like 5 times and not actually die.
I think we're probably saying the same thing.
I
It's
don't
just
know.
a different.
You're saying metaphorical, and in this it has to be literal. Because there's no way a metaphor is going to save his life.
I guess I'm saying it's more like he's so possesses the personification of evil that it's not demonic. I'm saying it's more like if you were so evil that your body wouldn't give out on you because your mission is just to keep going. But I get your point, because there's no real way for that to happen.
Yeah.
There's I can't remember where I read this theory that Michael's putting on a show for Dr. Loomis.
Interesting.
Loomis never actually hits him. That's why he's doing the big arm flails.
Oh, he's
Loomis
like...
is missing him. Or not shooting him well enough to really kill him.
Yeah, just hitting him in, like, the flesh wound areas.
Yeah. So he's doing it knowing he's going to get
back
away.
up.
Which is an interesting theory.
That man has a lot of tolerance for pain. I mean, honestly, though, I mean, if he does have, like, mental issues, he probably doesn't feel it. It feels like pressure, you know?
Laurie Strode lies on the ground as Dr. Loomis has vanquished the shape.
Seemingly vanquished.
She says, according to the subtitles, I've never really been able to understand what she says. I always thought she said, was that the boogeyman? There's also the possibility that she says, what is the boogeyman? Because she's copying what Tommy says.
Right.
Or, according to the subtitles on the 4K release, Laurie says, it was the boogeyman. Right. Like telling Dr. Loomis, assuming that he's a cop or something.
Right.
Not realizing that he's
or
this
like some
terrible
just helpful
child
person
doctor.
that came to help her.
Because I do like the response from Loomis. As a matter of fact, it was.
It was.
Yes.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
And I talked to you about this, where I think that it should be the emphasis on it. But either way, is that it was the boogeyman, or was that the boogeyman? And him saying, as a matter of fact, it was, is the finale. Laurie is distraught, as you would be. You just went through
as expected.
Incredible trauma, but at least you got Loomis now.
For that.
Now, Dr. Loomis looks down to look at the body, and it's gone. There's nothing there anymore.
Like no trace.
Donald Pleasance told John Carpenter he could play it one of two ways when he saw it in the script. He said, I can play it one way, where I go, oh my God, what's happened? He's gone. He's gone. The evil is gone, like he does at the beginning.
Yeah.
Or he could play it, I knew this would happen.
Deadpan.
I knew this was going to happen. I knew that wasn't enough.
Because he's evil.
So John said, do both, because he was like, I don't know, do both? Because he was like, I don't know, like, you're the actor that knows what he's doing. I don't know what I'm doing. So he said, he had him do both, and he was like, oh, okay, I see why he told me I can do this one of two ways. I think this is how you have the script written. Let me try it this way. So they went with I knew this would happen.
The latter of the
Which
versions,
is him just kind of looking, and he's like, yep, it's eerier that way. It's scarier that way. It's more...
Because
it's chilling.
Yes.
So Laurie starts crying because of, like, the trauma, and because now he's gone.
Right.
He could come back and try to kill them again.
Yes.
He's not going to, because he fears Dr. Loomis slightly. A little bit.
A little bit. Well, because he knows of him. The other people didn't know he existed.
Yeah, that's true. And then we get all of the shots of the different areas that the shape has stalked, because he could be anywhere. He could be in any of those hallways or any of those shadows.
Exactly.
Creepily done, and you hear the breathing, and it pans over to the Michael house, and you hear the breathing again, and it just fades off to black, and it just says Halloween.
That breathing
and the
at
credits.
The end. Oof.
And that is the end of John Carpenter's Halloween. We have walked through it step by step, pace by pace, painstakingly, I will say, Rachel. No stone left unturned.
I think we did, yeah. That's right. We did it.
And when it comes to that time of the show where I will ask you, Rachel.
Yes, Kevin.
Does Halloween from 1978 have shelf life?
And of course, my answer is yes.
Yeah, there was really no question.
Of course, my answer is yes. This one definitely has shelf life for me. I have nostalgia for it. I feel like rewatching it and actually sitting down and seeing it, like, fully immersing myself in it again, it's creepy, and you feel it. And it does make you feel unsettled by dark spaces.
Rachel's not going to sleep well tonight, I'm sure.
No, every noise, every bump. Ugh.
Yes, agreed completely. It is on the shelf. It is it's one of my favorite movies. to be fair.
Wow.
It's
Putting
why-
it even higher
It's
on
a
that
main
shelf.
event. I mean, it's a main
I mean,
event.
Kevin has it on his high shelf because he's got it in 4K.
I have it in 4K.
So it makes sense.
I have it on one of my top shelves and on my shelf racks, which doesn't really count because like it's by genre and stuff. But yeah, it's on the shelf. It's a great movie. It's done very simple. It's a simple premise.
Yes, I love that it's so simple.
It's a simple budget. It's the techniques. It's the storytelling. It's the characters. The shape is supposed to be a catalyst for Lori and Loomis and the babysitters and Tommy and Lindsay. The shape is just supposed to be this being. So it's not like your Jasons or your Freddys and Michael never really turns into that, I don't think, even in the sequels, but it's supposed to be different than all of those where the killer is the protagonist and you're waiting for him to kill all these idiots.
Right.
This is truly supposed to be like the unsettling visage of the shape.
Yeah.
But so simple, so well done. I watch this at least once a year.
Oh, yeah.
Probably more.
It's always on.
It's always
for
on.
Halloween.
I'll have it on in the background constantly because
yeah.
it's for me, it is infinitely rewatchable.
Yeah.
I can get the chills from it every single time.
That music gives me the chills.
That music is fantastic. Jamie Lee Curtis is great in it. Donald Pleasance is great in it. Even the supporting cast is really good in it.
I think they did it. They did so good. They all melded together so well.
And the little inconsistencies or little mistakes or little errors add to the charm.
I
The
think
palm
so,
trees in the
honestly,
background and all that kind of stuff.
The fake leaves strewn about.
Movies should not be made to be CinemaSins proof. Like, they should be... Those little things we can make fun of in bad movies, because if you're watching a bad movie, your eyes and brain starts to look for those things.
Yes.
If you're watching a great movie, like I think this is, you don't care about that.
Your brain goes, unnecessary.
Yeah.
You can avoid it. It's okay.
So, 100,000%, I love this movie. Halloween. There's nothing else to say. There's really nothing else to say about it. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's on our shelves. It's on the Shelf Life shelf, for sure.
Yep.
So, Rachel, we have done it. We have made it all the way through Volume 2 of Shelf Life. The Shelf Life Podcast.
Very good.
Shelf Life, the podcast.
That's right.
The only source of truth for all your needs, pop culture. We've done 17 subjects so far in our journey. We're going to do even more. We've gone through Scranton. We saw Paranormal Revenge more ways than one.
That's true.
We saw a little office romance stuff.
That's right.
We saw aliens abducting fat children. We believed a man could fly. We saw a lot of knife play. We saw a man smell a power bomb. All these things happened in Volume 2, but it sadly it comes to an end. The end of Volume 2. Do you have any thoughts about Volume 2?
I enjoyed Volume 2.
I think
it was
one.
fun. It was fun because it was like bringing back ones that we haven't watched and sat down.
There were
and
some
actually,
that we had never
watched in a while.
seen.
There were some we haven't seen at all.
We learned about a
got to
talking
watch.
gorilla and lasers.
Absolutely.
A lot of stuff learned
Yes.
during this season of Shelf Life. I don't like to do the usual spiel about subscribing and liking and giving reviews and stuff like that. I'm going to let Rachel do that because I don't like asking for that kind of stuff, especially when we're doing this to be fun.
It's a hobby.
And
it's a hobby.
And out
it's
of
for
posterity.
Fun, but I want our voices to be heard. So please make sure to give us a 5-star review on whatever you're listening to us on. Give us a good feedback. Make sure to share us with your friends and all of that. And
spread the good word.
Absolutely. Check us out on our website and let us know how we're doing.
Check
let
us
us
out
know
on the
what's on your shelf.
website,
I want to know what your
subscribe.
Volume 2 shelf looks like.
Yeah. What did we get right? What do you disagree with?
Oh, and definitely make sure to subscribe for more Shelf Life in the future. And
Yes.
for the next volume.
Yes,
coming
for
out.
those that are not used to the way that because again, this is a side thing that we do for fun, at least now.
but fun hobby.
We don't come out with these like every week. We will come out with these in volumes, so you won't hear from us for a little while. But I will let you all know, Volume 3 is a coming, and
we already know
it is special.
It's very special.
It's very special.
It'll be a very special volume. I hope you enjoy.
Yeah, we're going to hell. I'm just gonna tell you, we're going to hell.
Okay.
We are.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. But for those of you that are like, I don't want to give him 5 stars. I didn't like this.
That's fine. That's okay. We're not for you.
But try out some of our other stuff.
Absolutely. We got some shortcuts.
And we have a ton of different types of things that we've covered, too.
Absolutely.
So if you don't like horror movies and you were like, I don't like the way that they covered Halloween, I like the way that We Hate Movies covered Halloween, or Blank Check covered Halloween, that's great. Check out something else that we did.
Oh, yeah, there's something for everyone.
If you don't like it, and you don't want to, instead of leaving a nasty comment or not spreading the good word, we believe you should harness that energy. Don't be Michael Myers.
Right.
Don't be evil.
Don't be evil.
Harness any of that negativity for good.
That's right.
And the folks that like us, you can obviously do this too. But every volume, we kind of want to go out and say, instead of doing anything like that, donate to a charity. Donate to a charity in the name of Shelf Life. Now, I couldn't think of anything specifically Halloween related, but I mean, they did kill a dog in this one. So, I mean, give it...
Oh, yeah, Humane Society could be a good
Society,
one. We have gorillas, maybe something zoo-related.
Something zoo-related. Yeah, so ASPCA, a pause, something like that. Something for... like battered women's or something like that.
Something battered women's, LGBTQ
yes,
would be a good one.
Something Volume 2 related. For the Big A Boat Ride, for sure. Something Volume 2 related. Just tell them Shelf Life asked me to donate in their name.
To bring positivity into the world.
To bring some positivity.
Instead of negative.
Yeah, good reviews, charitable donations, all good stuff. So, that was Volume 2 of Shelf Life. Cross it off the list. Halloween 1978. It is on the shelf. I am Kevin.
And I'm Rachel.
We will be back for Volume 3 of Shelf Life. But until then, we'll see you next time.
And you know what? Everyone's entitled to a good scare.
I'd rather go with Ben Tramer.
Ben Tramer? I knew it! So you do think about things like that, huh, Lori?
Shut up.